Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto beat everyone in chunin exams. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by THBehemoth and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Awakening. Naruto was upset, very upset. He had just failed the Konoha graduation exam for the third time. He was now longer eligible to take the academy again. That meant he couldn't reach his dream and become Hokage. That meant he couldn't make people acknowledge him. Then the whispers began. Look, it's that boy. I heard he failed. Good riddance. He didn't know why people hated him so much and he didn't care. Right now, he just wanted to drown his sorrows away in ramen. Hey Naruto. A familiar voice called. Hello, Mizuki-sensei. Naruto greeted with his false smile. He had never liked Mizuki, he had always felt that the teacher had something against him. Mizuki began talking and apologizing for Iruka failing him, saying it was just his job. After a while Naruto zoned out. It wasn't until the next words left Mizuki's mouth did he listen. Naruto, how would you like to take a makeup test? Naruto was happy, very happy. He had been given a chance to become a ninja and fulfill his dream. All he had to do was steal a scroll without being caught, which he managed easily. Naruto had always been a master of stealth. He had to be, otherwise the villagers would have killed him years ago. Not that they've given up on their attempts. Now he was in the middle of a forest. He had a bit of time before his sensei was supposed to arrive. Let's see. Naruto looked through the scroll for a suitable jutsu. Shadow clones, huh? Naruto has spent the last hour training as hard as he could. He wanted not only to learn the jutsu, but to master it. But for now he needed a break from his training. Let's see what else I can learn. He thought, pleased with his progress. Naruto. Enraged voice called. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Naruto happily greeted. I found you. I found you. He screamed at the top of his lungs. It didn't bother Naruto in the slightest, he was too happy with his achievements. You're early, I only had time to learn one jutsu. Naruto continued. Do you have any idea how much trouble you're in? Iruka seethed. What do you mean? Naruto asked. I just did what Mizuki-sensei said for the makeup test. Makeup test? Mizuki Iruka exclaimed before becoming serious. We have to leave. But what about my exam? Naruto whined. Before Iruka could admonish Naruto, a bush rustled next to them. Before either knew what was happening a pair of kunai flew out. Being the first to react, Iruka pushed Naruto out of the way. With no time to escape, Iruka took a direct hit from both of the kunai. Iruka-sensei. Naruto cried in terror for his teacher. Hello. Mizuki greeted. Going somewhere? He eyed the scroll in Naruto's arms with greed. Handed over. No Naruto. Iruka shouted. Take the scroll and run. What's going on? Naruto asked, both scared and confused. Is this part of the test? It's a trick. Iruka shouted. Mizuki just wants the scroll for himself. Hey Naruto. Mizuki spoke in a smooth voice. Do you want to know why everyone hates you? Iruka seemed to pale at the statement. You can't, Mizuki, it's forbidden. Why? Naruto asked in desperation. Why does everyone hate me? 13 years ago the Kyuubi attacked the village, do you know what happened to it? Mizuki asked. The fourth killed it. Naruto stated in confusion. It was common knowledge. Wrong. Mizuki stated. It was sealed into a baby, you. He emphasized. You are the nine-tailed fox demon. Inf demon? Naruto questioned. So that's why they all hate me. He thought sadly. Because of the fox. It all made sense now, why they all hated him. Mizuki saw that his words had gotten through to the boy. Deciding to end everything, he drew his large shuriken and took aim. With a mighty thrust he sent it hurling toward a distressed Naruto. This is it. Naruto thought in acceptance as he closed his eyes. What Naruto was expecting was the pain of being torn to shreds. What he felt were a pair of arms wrap around him in a protective manner. Opening his eyes, he was greeted with the sight of smiling Iruka. Why sensei? Naruto asked. I'm just a demon. You're not a demon. Iruka gasped out. You're a Naruto Uzumaki, ninja of Konoha. Not knowing who or what to believe, Naruto did the only thing he could think of. He ran away as hard and as fast as he could. Damn demon. Mizuki muttered before turning to Iruka. I'll be back to finish you off. Naruto had hidden himself after he had escaped. He had became good at hiding, he had to or they would get him. He was so good that the chunin didn't notice him as they had their confrontation. Why are you protecting him, Iruka? Mizuki asked with genuine curiosity. He's the demon that killed your family, he'll just use the scroll to gain power for himself. Naruto listened intently for Iruka's next words. You're right, a demon would do that. Iruka stated calmly. Naruto's heart was breaking at those words. Even Iruka-sensei is against me. He thought sadly. But not Naruto, he's no demon. He said, sparking a bit of hope in the blonde. He's the future Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto was happy, he had someone who actually cared for him. Fine. Mizuki stated with a sneer. You can die with a demon. Naruto's joy was replaced by a level of hate he never knew existed. As soon as he found someone who cared, someone else wanted to take him away. Not on my watch. He thought defiantly. Jumping out of his hiding spot, he struck. The shocked ex-teacher had no way of defending against a surprise attack. With one powerful blow he knocked the chunin to the ground. If you ever lay a hand on my sensei. Naruto spoke in a cold tone, I'll kill you. The chunin were shocked at the killer intent coming off of Naruto. It was something a simple academy student shouldn't be able to do. I knew you were a demon. Mizuki shouted as he drew his last large shuriken, now die. As the weapon came to him, Naruto saw its exact path. He could actually see and follow its direction. He's going to throw the giant shuriken so that even if I dodge it'll hit Iruka. Naruto thought precisely. Wait, how'd I know that? Why do my eyes tingle? Standing his ground was the only option he had available. He'd have to take the blow if he wanted to protect Iruka from Mizuki. It's not like the thing can kill me. Naruto thought. There had been numerous and successful attempts on his life. He'd always just get up and now he knew why. As the projectile came into range he was knocked out of the way. He heard a cry of pain before realization sunk in. Iruka had knocked him out of the way and taken the blow. Iruka-sensei. Naruto cried for his fallen teacher. Naruto was confused, he would have survived the shuriken without any lasting damages. So why did he take it? Naruto couldn't figure it out. The answer was Iruka had a different mindset than Naruto. He was an adult, a chunin, a teacher, he was the one that was supposed to be doing the protecting. As was his duty and his privilege for Naruto, both his student and brother. Why sensei? Naruto asked in horror. He couldn't believe his eyes. Iruka was kneeling over, covered in blood from 2 oversized shuriken wounds. Both that he received while protecting Naruto in battle. Even then, he smiled at Naruto. We aren't a different Naruto. He spoke through the pain I used to goof off and make a fool of myself for attention. Naruto couldn't believe that. Now look at me, I'm paying for it, I only ended up sabotaging my own education and skills. Sensei. Naruto didn't understand what he was hearing. Don't make the mistakes I made. Iruka practically begged, don't treat this as if it's all a joke. He wailed, become a proper shinobi. I want sensei. Naruto stated with more conviction than his dream to be Hokage. I'll be a real ninja. Mizuki had grown tired of his former friends ranting. He had a job to finish. Let's end this demon. He called. Naruto turned to meet Mizuki's gaze and the chunin wished he hadn't. Something in the blonde seemed to change and not for the better. That didn't confuse the chunin, what did was the lack of everything. There wasn't even a hint of fear or even malice in the academy student. There was just a sense of emptiness around him. And a pair of red eyes. You're hurt, envious of Iruka. Naruto stated, and afraid of me? No, you're afraid of what I hold. He continued to stare. You feel neglected by the village and want more power. What's the demon up to? Mizuki scowled. Everything Naruto had said was true. Shadow clone jutsu. Mizuki's suspicion was quickly turned into fear. Over 100 clones had been formed and were surrounding all possible escape routes. The Naruto spoke in so monotone voice as they drew a shuriken. Each death aims only once, but never misses. What? The only thing he got as an answer was a swarm of weapons raining down on him. With no way to escape he ended up taking each and every last one into his body. There was pain. Then there was nothing. Naruto had just finished off the traitor and returned to his real sensei's side. He had no regrets at what he had just did. It was in self-defense, it was either him or me. Besides, the guy was a traitor to his village. Worse than trash. I did it, Iruka-sensei. Naruto cheered. I beat him. When his teacher didn't respond he grew concerned. Naruto began to shake and call his name. Iruka still didn't respond. But he had a smile on his face. Sensei. Life choices. The highly distraught Naruto was sitting in front of the Hokage. He was in a very vulnerable mindset. Last night, his teacher Iruka Yamino died in the line of duty. He was killed by a traitor. The traitor that Naruto then proceeded to kill without mercy. It had finally dawned on Naruto that he had killed someone, even if he was a traitor he was alive. Now the traitor was gone forever, just like his sensei. I'm so sorry, Naruto. Here is inside. He never wanted Naruto to be involved in the side of being a shinobi for a long while. The third could see that the boy was very hurt at the ordeal, who wouldn't be? He had just found out that he had a giant demon in him that caused him to be hated. He then proceeded to lose one of the few people who he cared for. All because he wanted to take a makeup test. Now he was cut off. It's my fault. Naruto stated sadly. You can't blame yourself. Hiruzen stated. If I hadn't stolen the scroll Iruka-sensei wouldn't have needed to protect me. Naruto countered. Mizuki could have used anybody. The third stated, then you wouldn't have become a ninja. He continued. And Iruka would have lived hating himself for failing you. What? Naruto was honestly confused at those words. Is this some kind of joke? I failed 3 times. Yes. Hiruzen agreed, but you also risked your life and showed true skill. He continued proudly, if skill and dedication don't make a ninja, then the Hokages and I have been doing it all wrong. For the first time since his arrival, Naruto smiled. Reaching into his robes, Hiruzen pulled out a headband. It was a little worn and dented, but still usable. Is that? It is. Hiruzen answered Iruka's headband. I think he would have wanted you to have it. He paused. If you still want to be a ninja. Naruto just stared at the glove. Any other time it would have been on him faster than a bowl of ramen in his stomach. But no, he wasn't sure he wanted the burden. The third Hokage saw this. I understand if you don't want it. He spoke. Take some time and make up your mind, tell me later. The third Hokage looked at the blonde with pride and sadness. He's so much like his father. He thought fondly. You're sad. Naruto stated, catching the third's attention. You have a lot of regret in your heart. How does he? Started asking only to stop. He found his answer in Naruto's eyes. They were glowing a pale red that bore into his being. Unlike the Kyuubi, they didn't give off any bloodlust or killer intent. These eyes were very focused, as if they were analyzing him. The third Hokage was more familiar with these eyes than most people. Well, at least more than those who were still alive. He's too much like his father. Hiruzen thought sorrowfully. He began fumbling in his desk drawers. I see you've awakened your bloodline. The third stated as he pulled out a scroll. Naruto, this scroll is for you, from your father. But you said you didn't know who he was, that I was this time. Hiruzen cut Naruto off. As you've said, I have a lot of regret in my heart. He sighed. Your father made a lot of enemies when he was alive. So I did what I did to protect you from those on the outside. He scowled at the wording he used. It looks like I failed to protect you from those inside. There were so many foul words Naruto wanted to throw at the Hokage, he would have been put Hiden and Teiya to shame. Instead he gave his leader a look of hate and betrayal. Without another word, Naruto grabbed the scroll and made his way to the door. Remember Naruto, everything stays on the low down for now. Hiruzen spoke. And then Naruto was gone. One more to the guilt list. The aged leader thought. Anger, betrayal or happiness. Naruto didn't know what he was supposed to be feeling as he read the scroll. Dear Naruto, if you are reading this, then you have activated your bloodline. It also means you're following in our footsteps. I can't tell you much in a scroll that could be stolen. Hidden in the scroll is a seal that will take you to the compound. It will respond only to your chakra. To find it you need to use the sight. Is that it? Naruto thought, feeling cheated. There was no seal on the page. What's the sight? With nothing left to try, he decided to use his eyes. They weren't that difficult to use, just add chakra. He was instantly rewarded. In the corner was the seal he had been told about. Naruto decided to try the seal out. He disappeared in an orange flash. Naruto wanted to change and be a serious shinobi, but a person can only take so much. So when you're surrounded by a flash of light and find yourself in a strange place, what do you ask yourself? What happened? Where am I? If he had been expecting an answer, he would have been disappointed. All that greeted with was silence. After taking a moment to compose himself, he looked around. As he had suspected, he was alone. There were however 2 large scrolls in front of him, easily the size of the Forbidden Scroll. On top of that were 2 smaller scrolls, all were addressed to him. Each had a number on it from 1 to 4. Well, at least I didn't have to steal these. Naruto spoke as he opened the first. Dear son, if you are reading this, then know that I am sorry we aren't there with you. I know having the life as a host is difficult, but you are the only one I can trust with this burden. After all, how can a Hokage ask a parent to do something he himself couldn't? I know my words probably mean very little to you at this point. But I want you to know it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Below are some words from your motor-mouth mother. Love, your father, Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage. Dear Naru-chan. Hi, this is Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, aka your mother. Naruto, you're going to experience a lot of pain and suffering. Remember who you are. Find a goal, a dream, and don't stop trying until it comes true. There's so much more that I want to say to teach you. I want to stay with you, but know we love you. So they did love me. He thought, feeling happiness and relief. Naruto didn't hate what his father did to him. After what Iruka did, he understood duty came first. As Naruto sat there in content, their words finally registered to him. My dad was the 4th Hokage. He thought, shocked before turning to joy. The 4th Hokage is my dad. Naruto quickly covered his mouth. That information was supposed to be a secret. He looked around and saw that he was in a room and alone. His secret was still safe. He kept reading. It's you, dad, again. There isn't much I can leave you on a personal level, but you won't be empty-handed. In the first of the scrolls marked 1 are the 2 jutsus and techniques your old man has created for you. In the scroll marked 2 is only for you if you've awakened the sight. I pray that you haven't. He almost opened it but decided to finish the rest of the scroll first. Mama's back. And the scroll marked 3 is every seal we Uzumaki have made as well as your father. Before you dive right into it, I want you to start at the beginning of basic Fuinjutsu. That way you won't hurt yourself or others. And the scroll marked 4 is the legal documents and stuff like that. No one cares. But there is money, lots of money. Just don't squander it unless it's for Ramen. Or a pretty girl. From Dad. He opened the second scroll. At the bottom were 2 more seals. I wonder what they do, he'd find out later. Naruto, opening this scroll means one thing, you awoke the eyes. I'm sorry. These eyes are a gift to a normal person, but to a shinobi it's a burden. At the bottom of this scroll are 2 seal. One from me and one from you mother. Naruto, these will help you in your duty as a shinobi. In the first seal is every jutsu I've come across that was useful for the purpose, the second is the kenjutsu used by your mother and her father going back generations. These things will aid you in one thing only, the kill. We are shinobi, not heroes. We do what we must, not what we like. Doing what you like is what leads to being a rogue and the pain for others. Naruto was shocked at this letter. It seemed their personalities as well as their tone of writing had changed. It has no official name but has been called many. The killer's eye, the murderous glare and more unfriendly names. It gives the user the ability to see and sense things from a long distance. You can see through things and at a true 360-degree angle like the Byakugan. Unlike the Byakugan, you will be able to see a person's life force instead of the chakra points and pathways. You will also have heightened perception and analytical powers, similar to those of the Sharingan, meaning he can comprehend any details you see. You will not be able to copy anything. Because you can see a person's life force, you will also be able to see the person's inner feelings. You will also be able to heal others by giving some of your own life force. You can only do this if the person is alive, if only barely. If they are dead, then you're wasting your own years. You will also be able to cast irresistible genjutsu on a small scale, no eye contact needed. They can fool the other taijutsu and even hinder them against you. You must never become dependent on these eyes or you will be killed. Naruto was happy at the things he would be able to do with his eyes. He was just unhappy at what he would have to use the eyes for. I'd always thought being a ninja was cool, not dark. He thought. He continued reading. We want you to know that you don't have to be a ninja, it's your choice. You could just settle down with a nice girl and let another generation worry about the burden of duty. You already carry a burden of your own, one just as great if not more so. We just want you to be happy. Realizations of the truth sucked. I need to think. What better way than with Ramen? As Naruto had left the compound he remembered his leader's words, he left his home without being seen. He was a master at not being seen. The young blonde had been sitting at the ramen shop for a whole 2 minutes and was still on his first bowl. If you watched closely you would see that he was deep in thought. People began leaving at the oddities, saying it was a sign of the end. Naruto-kun. Michiraku called for the 7th time, finally gaining his attention. Is something wrong? No. No need to bother them with my troubles. He thought. The Ichirakus had known Naruto long enough to know he was lying. They also knew he was too stubborn to tell an issue if it was personal. Gucci decided to change the topic. So you're going without the goggles today, huh? He asked curiously. I believe you told me you'd only take them off when you became a ninja. He leaned in closely. So, did you? Naruto rubbed his forehead, not used to it feeling so bare. I don't know. He answered honestly. Naruto, what happened? Asked worriedly. I had my first brush in with Mijides. He answered vaguely. Gucci nodded in understanding, he was familiar with the darker side of ninjas. It was the stories people feared. For a boy like Naruto it was an eye-opener and a life-changer. Like finding out your childhood idol was fake. You're wondering if the burden worth it, right? He stated knowingly. Especially with the one you already carry. Naruto wasn't shocked that the ramen chef knew of the burden. He was shocked that he was so understanding of the situation Naruto was in. Well Naruto, we'll support you on whatever decision you make. Spoke in a loving tone. Decide if you don't want to be a ninja, you can have a job here. Tucci kindly offered. Naruto liked the idea. The idea of being around ramen all day was tempting. I thought you said only family would get to know the recipe. I have a single daughter right here. The chef hinted. Dad. Exclaimed embarrassed. You just have to take our last name. He continued ignoring Dad. She screamed again. When they looked back to Naruto they saw the spot was empty. Even his one bowl was only halfway empty. Naruto stood in front of a single grave. Because Iruka died in the line of duty, he was given a shinobi burial. One silent and without any delays. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Naruto greeted sadly. I'm kinda in a bind. There was no answer, probably a good thing. On one hand people want me to be a ninja, you, the old man, my parents. He stated, but I'm not sure if I can do it. He sighed deeply. That was a lie, I'm practically made for the job. It was true. He was unrivaled in stealth, able to paint the Hokages in broad daylight and not be caught until he was finished. He then outran Anbu and even made them lose track of him. Steal the forbidden scroll from the village's most secure vault. Not that he had the eyes then, it was just another push in that direction. On the other hand, I was offered the secret to the best ramen in the world. He tried to joke, he was met with silence. I just don't know what to do, sensei. The blonde had to make a decision between doing his duty or following his heart. It was a tough decision for Naruto, for a child to make. It would have been tough for an adult to make. What would you do, sensei? He asked, hoping for an answer. He wouldn't get one, he would never get an answer from Iruka again. It made him regret all the times he squandered with the chunin instead of focusing. What are you doing here, boy? A voice asked. Naruto whipped around and drew a kunai in shock. Beside him was an elderly man covered in bandages and a threatening aura. Normally Naruto would have noticed someone as soon as he was in 20 feet. Yet this man was only 2 feet away from him. Who are you? Naruto asked. I am Danzo and you are Naruto. The man answered. What are you doing here? Naruto noticed that as the man mentioned him, he held no malice in his tone. If anything, it was as if the man was simply stating the weather. Seeing that the old man was no threat, Naruto put his weapon away. I'm thinking. Naruto answered. About being a ninja. Naruto answered. You should quit right now. Danzo stated coldly. What? Naruto asked, shocked. Why? If you don't, you will die. Danzo stated, you're indecisive, which can get a person killed on the field. There's no way I'll quit being a ninja. Naruto shouted, outraged at the man. I plan to be the Hokage so that everyone will acknowledge me. Do you know what the memorial stone there represent? Danzo didn't wait for an answer. Those are the names of shinobi who have lain down their lives for the sake of this village. Do you honestly think that small stone could hold the name of every shinobi this village has produced? No. Naruto honestly answered. What happens to dozens of shinobi graduate the academy each year with the same goal? They want to make a name for themselves, wanting power and glory. Danzo gained a distant look in his eyes. Do you know what happens to those who don't learn the truth? No. They die. Danzo answered, they die or wish they had. Those that don't learn end up getting those actually worth being a shinobi killed. Naruto paled as he listened to the elderly man. Just like with Iruka, the memories of the night before came flooding in. The last words his late sensei uttered were as fresh as if he had just spoke them. We aren't too different, Naruto. He spoke through the pain. I used to goof off and make a fool of myself for attention. Naruto couldn't believe that. Now look at me, I'm paying for it. I only ended up sabotaging my own education and skills. Sensei. Naruto didn't understand what he was hearing. Don't make the mistakes I made. Iruka practically begged, don't treat as if it's all a joke. He wailed, become a proper shinobi. I want sensei. Naruto stated with more conviction than his dream to be Hokage. I'll be a real ninja. No. He thought defiantly, I can't let his death be for nothing. He wanted me to be a proper shinobi and I will. No. Naruto stated firmly, I won't cause the death of those I care for, not again. Then don't be a ninja. Danzo stated, don't even try to get involved. But Naruto tried to argue but had nothing to say. Do you want to be a ninja, a real ninja? Danzo asked, let me know when you make the decision and I'll make it come true. So you're back. Hiruzen spoke, never looking up. Have you made a choice? Naruto hastily took it and tied it around his head. It fits like a glove. He thought happily. I promised Iruka. Naruto spoke with conviction, now I'm promising you and my parents. He stood firm in front of the village leader, I'm going to be a real ninja, a true ninja. Well, if you're going to do that you'll need to make a lot of changes. The leader spoke, no offense. Some taken. Well, you have a week to make what changes you can. Hiruzen spoke. Then you'll be placed on a team. As Naruto left the office, he was stopped by a familiar face, Danzo. He was eyeing the boy intently with obvious skepticism. So, you have made your choice. Danzo stated. What about my offer? Naruto eyed the old man with determination. I accept. Trust issue. Danzo watched as the boy made his way toward his destination. Everything was going better than he could have hoped. Not only was the village Jinchuriki taking his job seriously, he agreed to let Danzo help. He'll make a great weapon for the village. Danzo thought, if I don't break him, only time will tell. Now he only had to deal with one final obstacle, or at least a former one. He made his way into the Hokage's office. What are you up to, Danzo? Hiruzen asked. He knew his old friend rival was planning something. He could tell it in the one sign the man gave, his smile. In all the time that Hiruzen has known Danzo, he had only smiled when his victory was assured. I wish to talk to you about Naruto Uzumaki. Danzo stated. What about him? The third asked defensively. I wish to aid in his development. Danzo stated, he'll be a great asset to the village. You mean a weapon? Hiruzen snapped, I will not allow you to turn him into one of your mindless root drones. I will not make him mindless, just better. Danzo stated, besides, you don't have a choice. What do you mean I don't have a choice? Hiruzen asked coldly, as Hokage. It's because you're the Hokage that you can't. Danzo cut in. Explain. He has stealth skills better than our Anbu level Jounin in power. Danzo began, that boy hold the strongest demon in him. He's had a hard enough life because of the demon. Danzo, let him. He's not a civilian Hiruzen, he's a ninja. Danzo stated, he has a duty, especially now that he's become a shinobi. If he had become a civilian, this would be a different matter. It's because of that he must be prepared. Danzo insisted, do you want him to experience the hardship of being a shinobi well unprepared, just as he was last night? But the Sai the third answered. No. Failure to allow me to train him will only be both your downfall. Danzo stated, confusing the Hokage, you will just be crippling his development as well as the village's defense. Hiruzen admitted that Danzo was speaking the truth. Now that Naruto was a shinobi he needed to be ready, especially since he was so valuable. Fine. Hiruzen said, in defeat, do what must be done. As always, Naruto had returned to his apartment feeling better than he had in ages. He had spent the day training in jutsu, he hoped to begin his mother's kenjutsu soon. To relax after such an eventful day he decided to prepare one of his special limited edition ramen cups. As he waited he began looking around the place he called home, it was horrible. Not that it was his fault, he held it together well over the years. The place was just falling apart because of the manager's negligence. Well, I'll be moving into my true home soon enough. He thought happily. He had taken a look around the compound the seal had brought him to. It was a very nice place, large and full of life, even though it was empty. His train of thought was stopped by a danger instinct he had gained over the years. Looking toward the door he saw a shadow from the other side. With a loud breaking noise the door was kicked and sending splinters around. There stood an imposing figure dressed in black with a blank mask. Is it my birthday already? Naruto asked a figure. No, well, it's been a while since anyone's had the guts to attack me, especially in my own home. Naruto picked up his hot cup of ramen in sadness. Forgive me, ramen. With great aim he threw the cup as hard as he could to the intruder. The cup didn't spill a drop until it crashed into the wall after the intruder evaded it. While the intruder was distracted he picked up his kunai pouch. When he drew on he looked to the figure, it was gone. His instinct had told him to look to the side and so he did while aiming his kunai. Before he could launch it, the figure grabbed his arm in an iron-like grip. The figure grabbed Naruto by his jacket and wrenched the kunai from his hand. With a powerful tug Naruto was tossed into his wall. The blow had rattled him for a second. The intruder took a quick glance at the kunai before tossing it away. Strange. Naruto thought before ignoring it. No room for jutsu, have to get close. With no weapon, Naruto took a defensive position while the intruder did the same. Naruto threw a punch that was easily blocked, so was his second. The third had been dodged while Naruto raised his leg to knee the intruder. It had been swatted away and Naruto took a punch to the face. That single punch had been harder than any Naruto had in years. It threw him off balance and made his next punch sloppy. Naruto had no time to think or even to properly retaliate. The figure kept punching Naruto to keep him off balance. Any blows Naruto could get in were too sloppy and weak. The blow to Naruto's gut brought him to his knees. Naruto was able to wipe a stream of blood from his nose, that second was all he needed to recover. He took a deep breath before tackling the intruder into the opposite wall. He threw a punch that was blocked and held. Not letting go of Naruto's fist he grabbed a handful of the blonde's hair and slammed him to the ground. The intruder then grabbed Naruto by the jacket and tossed him across his apartment. Before he crashed he saw the ramen stain on the wall. I wish I had eaten that. Was his only thought. He landed on his kitchen counter. Wait, kitchen thought frantically, knives. Ignoring the pain in his body, he picked up the closest knife he could find. He tossed it towards the figure who merely sidestepped it. Grabbing a second he got close to the figure. With wild hacking and stabbing motions he attacked the intruder, all were missed. His arm was then pulled back in the iron-like grip at a painful angle, then slammed into the table, forcing him to release the knife. With one last act of defiance Naruto spit onto his assailant's mask. The figure held the beaten Naruto off the ground by his neck. Without so much as a grunt he tossed Naruto through a wall. All went black. The Hokage looked wearily at his old rival. What have you got planned for Naruto? Hiruzen asked. Nothing more than necessary. Danzo vaguely answered. Danzo? Hiruzen warned. I decided that to help the boy, I needed to bring him to his limits. These words caused the leader to pale, both the physical one and mental. What are you planning, Danzo? Hiruzen asked. Planning, nothing at all. Danzo honestly answered, calming the Hokage. It's already in motion. Naruto was slapped awake from his bliss of unconsciousness. Around him were several people dressed just like the one who attacked him. He could tell the one who attacked him apart by the blood stain on his mask from the spit. When he looked around him all he could see were walls that he wasn't familiar with. He himself was actually tied down in a chair. Usually when I awake from a beating, I'm in the hospital. Naruto stated. He was rewarded with a blow to the mouth. What do you want? Naruto asked. Answers. One answered. What kind? Naruto asked. We want village secrets, jutsus, whereabouts of important people. The assailant stated all of them. I don't even know any of those things. Naruto growled, so you might as well let me go. No. One of the figures stated. We actually know about you. The blood one spoke. We know you stole the forbidden scroll, where is its location? After the incident with the scroll Naruto had been warned of its power. He knew if the enemy ever got their hands on the scroll, it would mean disaster. "You won't get bupkis from me," Naruto shouted. The one who assaulted him in his home stepped forward menacingly. "Well, we know you know now," the masked person said. "And we'll get bupkis." "What have you done, Danzo?" Hiruzen shouted. "Only what was necessary," Danzo calmly stated. "You had no right." "I had every right," Danzo stated, yelling for the first time. "I'm doing what you never did." "And what would that be?" Seeing where his loyalties lie. "What do you mean, Danzo? He a loyal shinobi of Konoha." "Why?" Danzo asked. Why should this boy be loyal to this village?" Hiruzen actually hesitated before answering the blonde. "It's his home," he firmly stated. "What kind of home does he have here?" Danzo asked. The third Hokage had no answer. "Where's the forbidden scroll?" the kidnapper asked. "Silence." They began forming hand signs. Naruto never had the chance to hear what the jutsu was because of the effect. Water began forming around him, actually his head. At first Naruto did the expected thing and held his breath. That would last only so long. Ninja or not, he will need to breath. Eventually his lungs began to ache for air. The pain only continued to grow into a flaming sensation for his lungs. It actually felt as if his lungs were going to pop. When Naruto couldn't handle it, he released the breath he had. The jutsu stopped. Naruto didn't have enough focus, only take in a large gasps of air. Before he could settle his breathing properly, the jutsu was reactivated. This time Naruto didn't have a chance to take a deep breath. This allowed the water to actually force its way into his mouth. The foreign substance was foul in his mouth as it made its way into his lungs. There the water seemed to build in pressure in the blonde. It took Naruto a second for him to realize that the water was building pressure and tearing him apart on the inside. Just before he reached his brink, that jutsu stopped. This allowed Naruto to vomit the jutsu out with a little blood from his torn insides. They allowed him to gather his breath before speaking. "Tell us what we want to know." Naruto only looked on with his silent glare. The one who attacked him in his home drew a short but thick whip, on it were miniature barbs. He held it in an intimidating manner. "Did you know that the skin becomes more sensitive after it becomes wet?" Without waiting for an answer, he struck Naruto on the cheek. The blow tore deep into his flesh. It actually felt as if Naruto had been cut by the weapon. The blows came in rapid succession, tearing at the blonde's body. His face, chest and everywhere else, the whip struck. After each blow Naruto would feel a burning sensation completely different from in his lungs. Each time they drew a pained wail from Naruto, each one louder and louder. It didn't just tear his flesh, it had force behind it as well. Each of the blows left a ringing noise inside of Naruto's ears. It was loud with a piercing sensation to it. What did sensei say to do during interrogation? Naruto desperately searched his memories. "Focus on the cause. Tell us what we want and we'll stop." It took Naruto a moment to make words. Please, sir." Naruto spoke weakly. "Can I have another?" And another he got. Again. "Focus sensei." And again. "Focus sensei." And again. "Sensei." But Naruto no longer cried out, he just looked on with empty red eyes. When they had finally stopped beating Naruto, he was a mess. Patches of his skin was actually missing from his face. The wounds had blood pouring without a hint of stopping. His face was so swollen he couldn't open one of his eyes. He looked at them, eyes now blue. "We'll start with something easy." Another spoke, "A woman, where are the clan compounds? Surely you know that." They were met with silence but no glare. Naruto was actually trying to avoid eye contact. "So you do, good," she stated. "Tell us, do you know what a Jinchuriki is?" The question earned a shocked gasp from Naruto. "Good, do you know who it is?" They were met with more silence. "As we said, we know a bit about you." One stated, "A woman, how you're treated differently, why is that? Is it like Orochimaru and Mitarashi? You do have skill, we'll admit that, and the red eyes, was that a bloodline?" She continued only to be met with silence. "How would you like to leave Konoha?" This got a reaction from Naruto, it was small, but she noticed. The masked woman moved closer to him and got on her knees. She then leaned in between his legs and placed her hands on Naruto's lap, earning a blush from the blonde. "Listen, Naruto-kun," she stated using affection, "we don't need to keep causing you pain. Does that mean you let me go?" he asked, trying to keep the hope out of his voice. His answer was a simple shake of the head. "We can show you pleasure as well as pain, Naruto-kun," she stated in a smooth tone. Her hand began making light motions around his thighs. This gave Naruto a sensation he wasn't familiar with. He was familiar with pain, not this. It started as a tingling feeling that began to build inside him. It was all around the spot of the woman's hands, they felt amazing. They felt smooth as they massages him, bringing him pleasure he never knew. The sensation only continued to build as if were about to burst from him. Just as he felt as if he were about to erupt, she stopped. The feeling of not having release actually felt like he was in pain. "Think about it, Naruto-kun, we can show you unyielding pleasure." She drew two kunai and rammed into Naruto's thighs. "Or unending pain. Focus." Naruto looked around, the kidnappers had left for a moment. They had even forgot to place a guard for him, probably thinking he was a weakened genin. That made everything easier for Naruto. He tried to move and saw that he was bound tight, just not tight enough. The blonde had become an escape artist years ago after all of the attacks on him. It's how he learned to hide and escape. In moments he had undone the binds on his wrist. He then grabbed the kunai embedded in his legs and yanked them out. Those wounds, like the rest, would heal. He had never questioned why he healed so fast, now he knew. However, he didn't have time to let his body properly heal, he needed to escape. Using his stealth, he made his way out of the door. There was no guards on the outside either. He took a look around and saw that he was in a shack in the middle of the woods. From what he could tell, it was the middle or early in the morning. Time to get moving, he thought. For Naruto, each step he took was agonizing pain. His body pulsed in painful protest of his actions, the open wounds were worse. Stop. A voice spoke firmly. He didn't get far. Naruto turned and saw that it was the woman who practically molested him. You don't have to do this, Naruto-kun. She spoke smoothly. Come with us away from this village, a fresh start. Naruto simply stayed silent as he tried to make an escape plan. Why do you resist us? The question actually made Naruto think, why did he resist them? He had nothing to gain from Konoha or even lose anything if he left. Everyone treated him as a pariah for something he couldn't control. Naruto struggled for the words, for understanding. Why shouldn't I help them? Naruto thought. What has Konoha done for me besides torment me? The answer came from someone he thought would never answer him again. His headband, formerly Iruka's, had fallen off. In all of the chaos the headband had stayed tightly on Naruto's head. Now it easily slid off as if sensing his wavering loyalty. You'd be ashamed of me if I gave in, wouldn't you? He asked as he picked it back up. Scanning the area, Naruto saw the others hidden in the trees. He was surrounded. Naruto stood as straightly as his pained body would allow him to. Never taking his eyes off the masked woman, he tied his headband tightly around his forehead. If I'm going to die, I'll die like me. He thought grimly. Taking a deep breath, Naruto did one of the few things he was good at. Yelling. I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. He shouted, I'll never give up. So be it. The woman made a signal to her colleagues. Each shinobi surrounding him drew a shuriken and took aim. The blonde had three thoughts as they came in. The first. Oh, the irony. The second. I never did get to eat that ramen. The final one as he closed his eyes. I'm coming, sensei. He felt the thud of each shuriken as they collided with him. However, there was no pain, at least no more so than he already had. Is it over? He asked himself. Am I dead? Hesitantly, he opened his eyes. There was no pearly gates or raging fire, he was still in the forest, he was still alive. The blonde looked at the shuriken that hit him, they were all fake. They were the blunt plastic kind used for training first-year academy students. He felt a finger tap his shoulder. When he looked he saw a face that he had grown to feel safe around. It was the Hokage. He's here to save me. Naruto thought, relieved. The relief quickly turned to confusion as Danzo appeared beside him. The enemy knelt before the bandaged man. Danzo-sama. They greeted. The aged leader sent a fierce glare toward the bandaged man. Later Hiruzen. He spoke toward the leader. How was he? He passed. The woman answered, he did not give in to pain, pleasure or promises of a better life. He fought with all he had against me until the end. The bloodied one spoke. All in all, he is loyal. What is going on? Naruto demanded. The two elders finally turned their attention to the subject of the conversation. It was then that they finally got a good look at the boy. His skin was torn and his body was covered in bruises and blood. Said blood was splattered all over his torn clothing. They showed no sign of being saved. Hiruzen could only pity the boy for what he had to endure for a test, but the pride he felt outweighed any possible guilt. Danzo was looking at the boy with a reserved but calculating gaze. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't impressed with the boy's dedication. They held nothing back. Danzo though, just as they were trained. Let's discuss this in my office. Hiruzen spoke. You're telling me that you had me assaulted, tortured and mock executed, he asked, nearly yelled, throwing his headband onto the table. Just to see how loyal I am. Hiruzen looked at the headband in front of him, then back to the blonde. Naruto was beyond enraged at this point. He was hurt, that was the only way to describe it. Hiruzen, the Hokage, had always been like a grandfather to Naruto. To hear that he allowed something like this to happen, some so painful. It felt like he was celebrating his birthday when he was younger. Why? Was all he could ask. It was necessary. Danzo stated. Necessary? Naruto repeated. I honestly thought it was my birthday. Both men had the decency to flinch when they heard the remark. Even Danzo was human enough to admit they were brutal. Don't you realize I could have left this village at any time I wanted? Naruto asked. No one would have known until it was too late. He pulled back and gave the Hokage a neutral look. I still could. What do you mean? Hiruzen asked nervously. I can leave this village whenever I want, no one could stop me. Naruto stated I had to learn how to never get found unless I wanted to. The Hokage had the decency to look away ashamed. Naruto the villager need time, 12 years. Naruto stated I have had to hide behind some idiotic mask for these villager, thinking I was a nobody. Naruto wore a smile the Hokage didn't like. That'll finally change. What do you mean? Danzo asked intrigued. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto stated proudly I'm going to. No. The third spoke. What do you mean old man? Naruto asked, confused. You can't take their names yet. He spoke firmly. What do you mean, it's my heritage? No. The Hokage repeated I've been trusted with your heritage until I deem you a capable and competent shinobi. I've already proven myself. Naruto stated disbelievingly. No. The Hokage gave Naruto a firm glare. You are forbidden to mention your heritage or moving into the compound. Naruto looked at the man he once held in such high esteem. The Hokage saw the respect leave, it was as if the blonde was looking at something lower than trash. That was until his face went entirely blank. As you wish Hokage-sama. Naruto stated evenly. The tone held no respect or disdain, it simply was. But the blonde left. Bad move. Danzo stated. It was necessary. Hiruzen snapped. It was selfish. Danzo countered. He's not ready. When will he be ready? Danzo asked in rage when he's killed 1,000 ninja in the blink of an eye like his father. I need to protect him from he didn't know how to finish. From what? Danzo asked skeptically from the ones he's supposed to protect, they'd rather see him dead. It was true from his enemies, you won't let him get stronger the way you're going at it. He'll get stronger. Probably, through hate. Danzo spoke but who or what will he fight for? Hanaha. He stated as it were obvious. Really? Danzo asked skeptically as he eyes the abandoned headband. It was gone. It'll be fine. Hiruzen spoke, his smile returning he's proven he's loyal. But is the village? Deemed test. Naruto had awakened early this specific day, just as he had the last several. He knew today was the beginning of his career. Today was team placement. Naruto had dressed in his jumpsuit, the only difference was this one was completely black instead of orange. And people think orange is all I wear. He thought sarcastically. You don't sneak around in a ninja village in the dead of night to prank people in orange. Let's see if I got this down. He thought to himself. With a deep breath, he preformed a body flicker. The technique took him straight towards the entrance of the academy. Old man said I couldn't tell my heritage or live in my home. Naruto thought he never said I couldn't learn. The best part was they weren't clan jutsu, so the Hokage couldn't call it heritage. They were jutsu his parents had learned over the years of all elements, from the different confrontations and uses. He wouldn't just learn the jutsus, he mastered them, that was why he had only a few under his belt. He even found out he had all 5 elemental affinities. They were something to be proud of, he just needed to learn to use them. It helped that he was being trained by Danzo, something they kept secret from the Hokage. The man was able to quickly teach Naruto how and when to activate his eyes. He also taught Naruto some gruesome uses for them, such as the now visible fatal spots on a person. Naruto also learned he could cast up to C rank in jutsu. Danzo had taught Naruto more than how to use his eyes. After he told Naruto the secret to the shadow clones, he had to train hard. The clones trained from basic Fuinjutsu to Kinjutsu. Naruto himself would work on chakra control and ninjutsu. If you thought that was impressive, he taught the clones the stuff he should have learned in the academy. It's hard enough to teach one Naruto history for more than 5 minutes, try 8 dozen. To make sure that he kept improving, Naruto kept his clones training. Even now. Here we go. He thought. Naruto looked and saw that he was the first to arrive. He made his way to the swing set he had found comfort in. I've planned a lot of pranks on this thing. He thought fondly of those times. Taking a seat, he took out one of his mother's book on seals and began reading. Naruto had taken to Fuin like a bird to the sky, he had passed basic and was now an intermediate. When he finally raised his head he could only ask, what the hell? The area was full of people rushing toward the academy. I'm late. He had become lost in his book again. He made his way towards his class, no reason to rush. Naruto made his way into the class as quietly as possible. A ninja doesn't draw attention to himself. He learned. As he entered he saw the hopeful candidates of being a shinobi. There were the girls who seemed to be focused on the Uchiha and boys boasting about the future. As Naruto eyed them a frown formed on his face. They're childish. It'll get them killed. Was he truly like that less than a week ago? As he contemplated this, someone noticed him. What are you doing here Naruto? A loud voice asked this is only for people who actually graduated. Naruto stared at the speaker, Kiba Inuzuka, a brash person. Naruto simply tapped his head in reply and made his way to an open seat. But as he took out his book the door burst open. Through them flew a blonde and pink-haired pair. I win piggy. In your dreams forehead. Naruto would have tried to ignore him, but they were heading straight for him. What the hell? He looked around and realized his mistake. He had sat next to the ever-breeding Uchiha. Damn. There was no seats left, only the one he was in. He finally noticed the seat was occupied. "Hey idiot." Sakura shouted, "Get out of that seat, I want to sit next to Sasu-kun." Naruto gave her a single look before turning back to his book. This shocked the entire room since Naruto had always been a fanboy for Sakura. Sakura seethed over being ignored by her love-struck pet. "I'll teach him." She raised her arm in a threatening manner and took a step forward. Naruto sent her a glare that made her stop. Sakura had the feeling that if she hit him, he would hit her back. The entire class had the same feeling as well. Ino was just as shocked by everything as much as the class. She however knew how to treat people differently than Sakura. "Hey Naruto." She spoke, gaining his attention. "Could I have that seat, please?" Naruto stared at her for a second before standing to allow her the spot. Ino gratefully took the seat without hesitation. Everyone was dumbstruck. "Ah, looks like Naruto is moving up in the world." Kiba laughed. "Changing to blondes, eh Naruto?" Naruto smiled back but gave no response. He made his way to an empty seat in the back. "Hey Naruto." Ino called. "You left your book." She had been examining it ever since she sat down and had to admit she understood none of it. "Thanks Ino-chan." Naruto replied, adding the suffix making her blush. Sakura snatched the book before Naruto could reach it. After flipping through a few pages she found she didn't understand a single thing of it. No way that idiot could read something this advanced. She thought. "Where did you get something like this?" Sakura asked. "You stole it, didn't you, just like that headband?" "I didn't steal it." Naruto stated, annoyed. "It was left to me by my mother." "Liar, we all know you're just an orphan." Sakura retorted. "Besides, there's no way anyone related to an idiot like you could have something like this, right?" She asked the other classmates. "Probably died on their own kunai." "Sakura." Ino cried in disgust. "Not cool." Kiba spoke. "What, we all know it's true." Sakura screeched. "Everyone knows his parents were probably either failures or abandoned him knowing he would be one." No one said anything to Sakura's comment, they just backed away from her. No one made fun of Naruto's parents. Since a kid made the mistake in the beginning of the year, he never came back to class again. Naruto was making his way towards Haruno in a threatening manner. He quickly stretched his arm out toward Sakura, making her flinch, and snatched the book away. "My parents died protecting this village from the Kyuubi, what have yours done?" With nothing left to say he made his way toward the back of the class. Everyone was at a loss. Naruto had insulted Sakura. "Hey, you can't talk about my parents." She screamed. "I've had enough of this." Naruto thought, agitated. He was reaching behind his back when he froze, more like when he was stopped. "Release me Nara." Naruto ordered. "Not if you're going to do something troublesome." "Hold him right there Shikamaru." Sakura ordered. Unfortunately Shikamaru wasn't going to hold Naruto down for a beating. He released the jutsu. Naruto sidestepped the punch and tapped Sakura on the back while never breaking stride. She lost her balance from the extra momentum and fell over. Before she could get up a cold feeling washed over her. She looked at Naruto and paled at the sight. There was no bloodlust, no killing intent, no hint of anger. There was nothing in the blonde, no joy, no fear, no hope. He simply was. But one thing was obvious at the moment. Naruto was going to kill Sakura. Naruto raised a single finger and pointed it at Sakura. "What, does Naruto have loaded fingers?" The entire class thought. "That's enough." A powerful voice spoke. The entire class turned to see their village leader, the Hokage. Beside him was Danzo, expect to see a lot of him. "Hokage-sama." The class exclaimed. "Naruto." Danzo spoke. "Return to your studies." With a bow Naruto took a seat and began reading. This shocked the class even further. Naruto was never respectful. "Class, I am here to assign you all your teams." The third spoke. "Isn't Iruka-sensei supposed to do that?" Ino asked. "I'm afraid the Iruka Yamino died in the line of duty last night." He answered. "There was a traitor that tried to steal the forbidden scroll." He was stopped. The entire class was shocked at the news, minus one blonde. Their sensei was dead, not coming back. "Hokage-sama." Shikamaru spoke. "Why does Naruto have sensei's headband?" The third began cursing the Nara clan brains. He hadn't come up with an excuse for that. Naruto helped apprehend the criminal as well. Danzo spoke. "He was always prepared. It's why he's here with you all." "Yeah right, he just in clan less weakling, there's no way he could do something like that." Sakura spoke up. "He's probably the reason Iruka-sensei died, isn't he?" "Shut your mouth Sakura." Naruto shouted. "Why you can't talk to me like that?" Sakura spoke. "I'm your Sakura-chan. I'm over you." Naruto snarled. "Control yourself." Danzo spoke. Naruto looked at the two old men, he obeyed. "For now. I will be reading your team names." Hiruzen spoke. "Team 1 Team 7. When Hiruzen got to Team 7, he winced. He had intended for Naruto to be on this team for his benefits. With Sakura, he would have the girl he had a crush on. With Sasuke, he would have his rival to help him get stronger. Damn, this boy is difficult. When Naruto heard the names his face went blank. Sakura began to squeal about having Sasuke on her team. Sasuke looked as if he didn't care. Enjoy. Hiruzen spoke before leaving. Team 7 was agitated, their entire class had left, but they were still there. Where is our sensei? Sakura asked screeched. She got no reply, Naruto was busy reading, and Sasuke was brooding. This irritated her. This isn't right. She thought. He's supposed to follow me around like a lost puppy. She looked at the blonde, he was deep into the book. She noticed that he wasn't wearing orange, and his headband looked worn out. It must really be Iruka's. She was curious as to what happened on the mission. She wasn't the only one. Dead last. Sasuke spoke only to be ignored. Dead last. Idiot. Sakura screeched answer Sasuke-kun. Naruto continued to calmly read his book on seals. Grrr. An idea struck the kunoichi to be. Naruto-kun. Sakura spoke sweetly. This gained Naruto's attention, as well as the Uchiha's. Yes, Sakura-san. I was wondering. She leaned in on Naruto. If you could tell me how you got that headband. No. Naruto spoke. It's a mission secret. Now Sakura was twice as angry. How could he ignore me? It was an outrage in her mind. The pink-haired kunoichi raised her arm as if she were going to strike the blonde. Naruto closed his book causing her to back off. He's here. Naruto stated. The door opened to reveal a tall man with silver hair. Team 7? He asked. Yes. Naruto answered. My first impression of you all is. He spoke making them lean in. You're boring. What? Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. Okay, tell me about yourselves. Kakashi spoke. What about you? Naruto spoke. You're the stranger here, plus you must have read upon us. Fine, my name is Kakashi Haddock. He took a thinking pose. My likes, I don't feel like telling you. My dyslexia never thought of dreams for the future. All we learned was his name. Was the collective thoughts of the genin. You first, Pinky. Kakashi spoke. My name is Sakura Haruno. She snapped. My likes are. She looked at the Uchiha and blushed. My dreams for the future. She looked at the Uchiha and squealed. And your dislikes? Naruto and Ino. She screamed, making them deaf. She looked at the blonde to see how badly she hurt him. He was just continued through the book. Mr. Gloomy. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. The Avenger spoke. I don't really like anything, I hate a lot of things. He gained a dark look in his eyes. My dream, no ambition, is to kill a certain man and rebuild my clan. An Avenger. Kakashi thought. So cool. Sakura thought. Naruto thought. Lundy. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze, he added to himself. I like my dyslexia. Dreams for the future. Not a dream. Naruto spoke. I plan to make my parents proud and rebuild both my clans. Both, does he know? Kakashi asked. Stop being an idiot. Sakura spoke. You're a clan-less weakling, there's no way your parents would be proud of you. Naruto sent Sakura a glare that made her freeze up. She was sure that his eyes were turning red. Sakura, he growled. Okay. Kakashi spoke. And meet me tomorrow for the genin survival test. Test? To decide whether or not you're worthy to be genin. Kakashi spoke before giving an eye smile. There's a 66% failure rate, and oh, don't eat or you'll hurl. With that, their sensei vanished. Sasuke-kun. Sakura spoke. Would you like to go on a date with? No. Sasuke answered before leaving. On instinct, the pink-haired girl turned to scream at her former admirer. No, I won't go out with, only to realize he was gone. Naruto. Naruto was making his way toward the destination. He had prepared himself the best he could. He had his black jumpsuit. Really need to add to my wardrobe. A variety of jutsu, some mastered, some still in progress. And a full stomach. You're late. Sakura greeted. Haddock-san isn't here yet. Naruto spoke. I am not late. That's Kakashi-sensei, idiot. Sakura shouted. We have not passed the test. Naruto countered. Plus he hasn't taught us anything. He's right. A voice spoke. You're late. Sakura greeted. I got lost on the road to life. He returned. So what is the test, Kakashi-san? Naruto asked. You have 1 hour to take these from me. He answered, holding 2 bells. But there's only 2. Sakura spoke. 1 won't pass. Exactly. Kakashi returned with another eye smile. Come at me with the intent to kill. Naruto ran forward with a kunai in hand. In the blink of an eye, he had his kunai aimed at the back of his skull. He's fast. Naruto thought with a hint of fear. I haven't said begin. Kakashi spoke, letting the blonde go. Begin. The genin scattered. Naruto had hidden himself. He knew that even against a jonin he was invisible. Need a plan. He thought. He knew the truth behind the test from the beginning, but that meant nothing on his own. Wordlessly he formed a total of 5 clones. 2 ran into the woods to find his comrades, the other 3 had their jobs. Uchiha. Naruto spoke. Sasuke froze when he realized he had been caught. How did the dead last find me? He was supposed to be a failure. We need to work together, Sasuke. Naruto spoke. A genin can't beat a jonin on their own. Watch me. Sasuke spoke before leaving, his spot was compromised. Worth a shot. He thought as he dispelled. Next. Naruto had made his way to Sakura, he made sure to cover his mouth before making his presence known. He could feel the force of her scream nearly push his hand away. Damn, she has some lungs. Shut up Sakura. Naruto ordered. What do you want? She hissed. We need to work together if we want to pass. Naruto spoke a genin can't beat a jonin alone. Sasuke-kun can. Sakura protested. Then how would you get a bell? He asked with a roll of his eyes. Before she could retort he went up in smoke. He did his part. Naruto made his way to the open field where Kakashi stood. Let's begin. Naruto spoke. You think you can take me on by yourself? Kakashi asked. Naruto didn't answer, he just raised a single finger and took aim. What, do you have loaded fingers? Kakashi asked in humor. Water gun jutsu, he got his answer. A single water bullet fired from Naruto's finger. It moved with such velocity that Kakashi didn't notice it. The jutsu pierced through his left thigh, forcing the jonin to his undamaged knee. What the hell, you have loaded fingers? Kakashi shouted in pain. That should slow him. Naruto thought. Using the body flicker he appeared by Kakashi's side. He then fired 2 more of the bullets into Kakashi. One into his liver and another into his kidney. He then grabbed his head and pulled the mask down. He stared at the jonin but blocked the view of for his fellow genin. With a hard yank heard an audible crack could be heard from Kakashi's neck. Kakashi then dissolved into mud. Mud clone. Naruto thought. Need to get away. Kakashi stood hidden in the trees in shock. That kid is fucking brutal. He thought. He decided to go mess with one of the others for now. Sakura watched the display of brutality. He was going to use that on me. She realized. But he loves me, didn't he? Hello Sakura. A voice whispered in her ear. She turned and everything went blank. Naruto looked at the unconscious Kunoichi. Should I help her or leave her? It was so hard to decide. Be lucky I need you to pass. He sent a little chakra into her, just enough to break the Jinjutsu. Huh, where's Sasuke-kun? She asked. Betting his ass handed to him by Kakashi. Naruto answered. You lie. She shouted he probably already has a bell. She sent the blonde a glare. You're just jealous that he has one and is going to get the second for me. His finger twitched. You know what, I've had enough of this. He turned and left her to deal with the test on her own. Naruto laughed at the sight before him. Sasuke was nothing but a head in the dirt. Stop laughing. Sasuke snapped. Get me out of here. So the mighty Uchiha does need help. Naruto mocked. I'll free you if you help me get a bell. Fine. A minute later Sasuke was free. Okay, where do we begin with this plan of your? Sasuke asked. Sasuke watched as the air around the blonde seemed to change. It was like when he was facing against Sakura, nothingness. But there was the unmistakable business-like aura as well. First Naruto began. Sakura was angry, Naruto had abandoned her. When I find that idiot. She growled to herself. She did find him, under a tree. He seemed to be hiding, it was luck that she actually saw him. I'm staring directly at him and barely see him. She thought astonished. It only means Sasuke-kun is better. Then she saw the target of her affection. He was going against their soon-to-be sensei. She was amazed at his skills, go Sasuke-kun. Her attention turned back to Naruto, he was drawing a kunai. Her mind instantly went to the negative. She thought he was going to attack her love once he got the bell. He's going to attack Sasuke-kun. She thought frantically. Idiot. She shouted as she pulled out a shuriken and threw it at the blonde. If she had stayed silent she may have had a chance of hitting the blonde. That's ignoring the fact that the flight path of the weapon was off. What are you doing? He hissed. I'm protecting Sasuke-kun. Sakura shouted. The wand of Kunoichi drew a kunai of her own and dashed toward the blonde. He held her at bay with ease, but she kept attacking. Enough. He growled. But the powerful smack he knocked her back. He hit me. The blow alone stung, but not as much as the fact that it was Naruto who did it. Hey. An irritated Uchiha called. What happened to the plan? They turned to see a battered and bruised Sasuke. Plan? What plan? She thought. Ask your precious fangirl. Naruto returned, equally irritated. They turned their attention to the pink-haired Kunoichi. Before the question shouting could begin the bell rung. Well, I have to say. Kakashi begun. You all Eric with the group. He pointed to Naruto. Here we have the merciless. To Sasuke the loner. To Sakura the useless. But Sakura stuttered. You should all give up. Kakashi spoke. Only one of you are fit to be a shinobi. So Sasuke-kun passed. Sakura asked, happy for him. No. Kakashi answered. It's Naruto. What? The Uchiha shouted. If I don't pass then I can't get strong enough to kill him. You never will at this rate. Kakashi lazily stated. He charged the jonin in rage, only to end up pinned under said jonin. Hey, you leave Sasuke-kun alone. Sakura shouted but did nothing. You think this is a game? Kakashi asked in seriousness. Sakura, kill Naruto or Sasuke dies. Sakura didn't even take a moment to ponder it. She just drew a kunai and charged the blonde. She never made it within 2 feet before Naruto kicked her onto her back. He pinned her under himself and placed 2 fingers onto her neck. Sakura wondered if he was going to fire into her. Did you know, Sakura, that with enough pressure, 2 fingers to the throat you can kill a person? He spoke, answering her question. Naruto? She was once again shocked and terrified. Naruto-kun. Sakura looked into Naruto's eyes and froze. It was as if she were looking at a new person. This wasn't the same boy that pestered her for dates, it was a killer. That's enough. Kakashi spoke. This test has been over since it begun anyway. You knew? Naruto asked. You didn't think I was a jonin for nothing, did you? He asked with an eye smile. The jonin removed the 2 bells and held them out. In a puff of smoke they revealed themselves as nothing but stones wrapping in string. Naruto held the real bells. Since when? Sasuke asked. Since I attacked him, it got placed in the hold. Naruto answered. Then why not say anything? Sakura asked in outrage. I needed to see what kind of team I would be on. Naruto sneered. Well, who gets the second bell? Kakashi asked. Sakura smiled, sure that he would give her a bell. Probably as an apology. She thought. Or to get us alone. Sasuke just frowned, he knew that they weren't on the best of terms. You can do it, Naruto. Kakashi watched on with interest. This is an important decision. Naruto didn't hesitate to answer, he threw a bell to the Uchiha. Now give the other to Sakura. Kakashi mentally begged. I'll keep this one. Naruto stated. The jonin gave a sigh. You all fail. What? Why? Sasuke asked. The Naruto got the bells. Yes, but the purpose of the test was teamwork. Naruto cut and I understand. Then why didn't you give a bell to Sakura? He asked. The Uchiha has proven himself a capable partner. Naruto spoke. The Haruno has shown her colors. Sakura could only put her head down in shame. But we both know the team passed. What? The council won't let you fail the last Uchiha, Naruto spoke. Plus your debt to him. I could just take him as an apprentice. He stated, earning a smirk from Sasuke. Then how would you pay back my father? Naruto asked confidently. Idiot, you're clanless. Sakura spoke. Or your parents were failures. Shut up, Sakura. This one came from Kakashi. You will not mock his father. He spoke in a low growl. Is that understood? Why yes. She whimpered. You all pass. He spoke dismissed. Naruto was happy, he was finally an actual shinobi. Hello, Naruto. His sensei greeted. Hello, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto returned, or should I say dog. When Naruto was younger, Kakashi had been assigned as one of his protectors. To keep him safe from civilians who couldn't see the jailer from the warden. He was one of the 2 Anbu that actually took the job seriously. When and how? The jonin asked. The hair. Naruto replied. I came to give you some bad news. Kakashi sighed. Because of the civilian council, I am to focus mainly on training Sasuke. He spoke solemnly. This means little time for you or Sakura. I understand. Naruto replied. Damn civilian council. Naruto mentally growled. They have no business in shinobi affairs. But. Kakashi added, that doesn't mean I'll leave you empty-handed. He pulled out a straight-bladed tanto with a small, circular handguard. The white light blade. Naruto spoke in awe. From what Naruto understood from history, this was a great weapon. It was capable of producing white chakra, a chakra sharper than even wind-based chakra. It was my father's. Kakashi stated sadly, it holds too many sad memories. Why give it to me? Naruto asked. No one gives a weapon like this away for nothing. It's my way of saying sorry for not doing enough. Kakashi spoke, and for what we'll have to face. I understand. Naruto whispered. He feels like he owes me something. Well, you better go rest up. Kakashi I smiled. Tomorrow you start the Hell of D rank missions. True test. To say Naruto was happy was to say Sakura was a fangirl. He had just finished his survival test and got the White Fang's blade. To celebrate he went out and ate all of Ichiraku's Naruto special ramen. Eat a certain amount under a set time and it's free, he won 8 times. He paid for the extra 7. The Ichirakus had always been good to him, he wouldn't bankrupt them. He was still full as he headed to the team training ground. Okay team. Kakashi spoke. Today you will start your D. Excuse me. A new voice interrupted. We have come for Uzumaki-sama. The team turned to see 2 figures, one with a blank mask with a root kanji and the other with a cat mask Anbu. Naruto had the feeling that it was the one that assaulted him in his house. The cat was familiar to Naruto, she was in dot. We are to escort him back. Cat spoke. Can I ask why you need my student? Kakashi asked as he stepped in front of Naruto. He knew of root. It's okay sensei, I trust Cat. Naruto spoke. She protected me when dog was away. Slowly, their sensei back away. It's good to see you Naruto-kun. She spoke. Wait. Sakura spoke. Why did you call him Sama? He's no one important. You know so little. The root operative spoke. Let's go. Naruto called. In a whirl of leaves that disappeared in a body flicker. When they arrived, Naruto saw both the Hokage and Danzo. "You requested to see me?" Naruto asked. "Yes, Naruto-kun, we have a mission for you." Hiruzen spoke. "A test. I thought I passed your test." Naruto spoke tensely. "Plus the genin test." "You thought that was all?" "That was only part of it." Danzo spoke. "And the genin test was a front. We're ninja." Hiruzen spoke. "We live in deception." Danzo finished as he handed Naruto a scroll. Naruto looked at the scroll and back at the elders. "Is this some kind of joke?" he asked. "It is no joke." Danzo spoke. "And if I refuse? It wouldn't be the best choice for you." Danzo stated vaguely. "Naruto." The third spoke. "You keep going on about being a real ninja, right?" Naruto nodded. "Well, this is what it means to be a ninja. We are cold killers for hire." Danzo spoke. "Nothing else." Hiruzen looked at the boy as he had his inner struggle. He felt sorry for his surrogate grandson. Maybe it's too soon. He thought most shinobi didn't get this until they were genin. "I understand." Naruto spoke, drawing his leader's attention. "I accept. But for this mission we'll assign you 2 partners." Hiruzen spoke. "The first is an associate of Danzo's." He gave the bandaged man a cold glance. "The second is Anko. No." Danzo spoke. "What do you know?" Danzo repeated. "Picture the boy influenced by her." Hiruzen did. The third looked at the Naruto before him, the one influenced by Anko. Said Kunoichi was in the room with him. A hit, huh? Anko asked. "You want us to make him suffer or end it quickly and quietly?" "It's not a hit." Hiruzen spoke tiredly. "Just scare the man into leaving. We can take out his tongue." Naruto offered. "With a knife." Anko added. "Or remove his friend's heart." Naruto continued. "Yeah, with a knife. A bigger knife." Naruto countered. "Fucking knife." Anko and Naruto shouted as one. "No. Killing." The Hokage spoke. The third couldn't suppress the shudder that rose in him. "Smart move, Danzo." Hiruzen admitted. "How about Kat?" Danzo offered. "They seem to have a trusted history and she is a capable kunoichi." "I accept." Kat spoke. "Then you will have a second mission." Hiruzen spoke, handing her a scroll. The kunoichi read the scroll over before giving their leader a glance. "I accept." She repeated, though without emotion. "You have 1 week to complete the mission, you leave immediately." Hiruzen spoke. "Dismissed." Naruto looked at the 2 he would be partnered with. The kunoichi, Kat still with her mask. The second was a pale boy with a fake smile on, named Sai. Naruto knew of fake smiles. "Are you 2 prepared?" Kat asked. "Yes." They answered. "Our target is about a day's travel from here." Kat informed. "Let's go." Their mission, assassination. They had traveled at a moderately quick but even pace. They arrived outside a small town just as the sun was beginning to set. "We will camp here for the night." Kat spoke. "Our target?" Sai asked. "It's not ours." Kat spoke. "It's Naruto's." "What?" Naruto asked. "I am to make sure that you get your first kill." Kat spoke. "This is your mission." "But I already have my first kill." Naruto spoke. "Yes, but that was self-defense." She reasoned. "You are to make this kill, we are here to make sure you do." "I can't. It is not our duty to think or question." Sai spoke in an emotionless voice. "It is our duty as weapons to simply do." "He is right." Kat spoke. "Now sleep." There was no more discussion on the mission. There was an early morning rush for the preparations. Apparently there was going to be a festival. The target would be in sight. To blend into the crowd, Naruto needed to move with a rush. He moved from shop to shop, each time he looking for his target. His teammates were hidden in plant side as well. They would be studying Naruto, but they wouldn't aid him. It was his mission. "There he is." Naruto locked on. The target was the leader of a group of criminals. They worked in all trade from drugs to thievery. He was a bald man at about 6 feet. He wore a stern expression on his face. The crowd actually seemed to be avoiding, left him alone and open. Naruto made his way towards the target. 20 feet. He estimated. He would make his way to the target and use the water bullet jutsu. If he aimed right, it hit the man in the head, killing him instantly. 15 feet. He estimated. The target turned his eyes towards Naruto, but not at Naruto. The blonde forced himself to break stride, not wanting to look suspicious. 10 feet. He estimated. He was in range. Before he could fire, 3 blurs rushed past him. It took all of his training not to act. 5 feet. He estimated. The blurs latched onto the target. "Daddy, look at what we brought." The smallest blur spoke. It was a little girl of about 5. "I won this one." Another spoke. It was a boy of about 8, he reminded him of Konohamaru. "Kids, let him breath." The final blur spoke. "It's okay, honey." The target spoke as he gave her a kiss. 1 foot. He estimated. The target was right there, he could make it without hitting the civilians. They wouldn't even understand until it over. By then Naruto would be long gone. 5 feet. He estimated. He passed the target. "Care to explain yourself?" Kat asked. Naruto looked at her in regret. "I couldn't do it." He mumbled, just loud enough for her to hear. Why? Sai asked. I didn't know anything about him. Naruto stated. You were debriefed. Sai stated. Documents can be forged. Naruto snapped. I don't know what this man has done to deserve death. It was your order. Sai stated. We get orders from our cage, so I'm supposed to kill without question. Naruto cat sighed in understanding Sai. Go gather some information on the target, see when he will be vulnerable again. Without a word, he left. Naruto looked at the cat Anbu, his former protector. With another sigh, she removed her mask and sat down next to him. Naruto saw her face for the first time. She was beautiful. It's best you don't know anything personal about them, Naruto-kun. She spoke. It makes it easier to do the job. I've been in your shoes, Naruto, many shinobi have. She explained. We all have the struggle in us. How do you get through it? Naruto asked. This is different than with Mizuki, it was self-defense then. We have to cope. She answered. Some of us find habits for an outlet, usually dirty, or someone to cling to. For instance, I have a boyfriend named Hade, we've been together for a few years now. What about those who don't have an outlet? Naruto asked. What happens to them? Had hesitated before answering. Some of them either quit or break. She looked away sadly. Those that don't actually enjoy the job. Naruto shuddered at the idea of anyone enjoying taking a life. You have to understand, Naruto, we aren't samurai, we aren't honorable. She reasoned. We are either kill someone or get information from them. What happens if I don't kill him? Naruto asks. Someone else will be given the mission. Cat answered. Either way, that man will die by someone's hands. The choice is whether or not it's before he kills another person himself. But was as far as he got before she placed a finger on his lips. Cat placed her mask back on, and the conversation was over. Sai returned an hour later with the needed information. It turns out he wouldn't be alone again within the time limit they were given. That meant to finish the mission, they would have to kill the target and leave no witnesses. When would be the best time to strike? Cat asked. He will be having a meeting a warehouse with a colleague of his. Sai answered. They have hired academy dropout from Iowa as guards. A chance to take out him and his group. Naruto mumbles to himself. Can you do it? Cat asked. No. Naruto answered, but I have to. You have a few hours to prepare. Naruto sat in front of a pond in contemplation. He needed a plan for his mission. How do they just expect me to kill a random stranger? He raged. How are you, Naruto-kun? Sai asked. Naruto looked at the boy as he approached him. Man, that's a horrible fake smile. He thought. He was an expert with the situation. I'm fine. Naruto answered before asking. How do you do it, Sai? What? Sai asked. Kill. Naruto stated. I asked Cat, but I only gained advice for the after, not actually how to do the job. Sai took a moment to consider the answer. Be someone else. Sai spoke. What? Be someone else. Sai repeated. That way you won't have to deal with it. It won't be you doing the deed, so it won't be your burden. Naruto looked at the boy in front of him. He wasn't that much older than him, but Naruto knew he was dangerous. He was skilled, more so than most of the other Naruto met. He was aware of Danzo. Who should I be? Naruto asked. Sai smiled before answering. Whoever can get the job done. Who are you? Naruto asked with narrowed eyes. For a moment, for the smallest of a second, Naruto saw an emotion on Sai's face. I am a tool. Before Naruto could dig deeper, Cat arrived. Naruto, it's time. Naruto was at the warehouse filled with the criminals. His team was with him and like before, they would be no help. The blonde began taking several deep breaths. His body began to control the adrenaline he felt building. It would be useful. He activated his bloodline before entering. The guards never noticed him. Inside the warehouse was a total of 9 men, 7 were in control of protecting their own business in the village. They each worked for the 9th man, the target. The 8th was simply the colleague in question. They were discussing the profit of their companies when they heard a noise. What was that? One asked. Don't know, spread out and see. The target ordered. Naruto was actually inside the building, standing on the ceiling. When they scattered, he dropped. He landed behind the first person. He grabbed the man from behind and slit his throat with his tanto. The victim only had time to emit a gurgle before dying, enough to alert the others. 8 to go. Naruto ran to the closest of the other guards. He kicked his leg from under him. His sight told him that someone was behind him with a kunai. Naruto turned and locked his left arm with airs. Using his free hand, he delivered a punch onto his enemy's chest. That knocked the wind out of him long enough for Naruto to put him in a single-arm headlock. He positioned the enemy just enough to reveal his chest. He drove the tanto straight into the heart. 7. Just as he did, a shuriken lodged itself into his shoulder. Naruto tore it out while drawing one of his own. He threw the one in his shoulder back to its owner, lodging itself into his throat. The other went into the man that Naruto knocked off his legs trying to sneak up on him. 5. One was charging him head-on. He held his sword in a poor grip and had a sloppy stance. Naruto literally smacked the weapon out of his hand as if he were smacking a person. He then grabbed the man by the neck and pulled him close. Naruto had him in what was close to a bear hug and chokehold with the man's hands trying to push him away. He stopped struggling when two kunai lodged themselves into his back. Naruto tore one free and sent it back into the man's head. 3. The colleague decided that it was too much for him, he dropped his weapons. Naruto paused. That was a mistake. The last guard decided to take the opening by cutting Naruto's back leg. Before he could straighten himself, a punch to the head knocked him to his back. A kunai was lodged deep through his right hand into the ground. The colleague began holding down Naruto's left hand. Even though he was a grown man, Naruto was a shinobi. It took everything he had to hold down Naruto's hand. The last guard wrapped his hands around Naruto's neck. He was going to choke the life out of Naruto. Is this how it ends? Naruto asked himself. He looked at the man that was strangling him, he was enjoying it. Just as Kat had told him. The thought of those two gave him hope. Where are they? He didn't need to activate his eyes to find them. They were on the ceiling, watching him. They were making no efforts to help him, just as they were ordered. They were going to watch him die. I've seen dozens of people like you. The guard laughed. Cowards who can't draw their sword. He looked around. At least people who don't know what they're doing. Just playing ninja. The colleague spoke. Already he could feel his neck beginning to cave in from the pressure. His lungs were burning from their lack of air. I don't want to die. He frantically. It isn't a job just anyone can do. His killer taunted before getting angry, but they get rid of us who are perfect for it, simply because we enjoy it. He raised Naruto's head and slammed it back onto the ground. Does it hurt? He did it several more times. His vision was fading fast. Naruto was so woozy that he didn't notice the strangling stop. The colleague was holding down both of Naruto's arms while the guard grabbed Naruto at Tanto. He crouched over Naruto with the blade held high. He intended to kill Naruto with the blade Kakashi gave him. Don't treat this as if it's all a joke. The man spoke. The lesson is just beginning. Don't treat this as if it's all a joke. Those words broke something in Naruto. Sensei, don't make the mistakes I made. Iruka practically begged. Don't treat this as if it's all a joke. He wailed. Become a proper shinobi. We are cold killers for hire. Danzo spoke. Nothing else. Be someone else. I am a tool. That was what he needed to be. A proper shinobi, both skilled and merciless. He needed to someone else. The guard brought the Tanto down as Naruto's eyes snapped open to reveal a pair of empty red orbs. What the? It was enough of a distraction for the colleague to loosen his grip. Naruto's left hand flew out and grabbed his assaulter by the hand. With just a flick of his wrist, he snatched the weapon free. In a swift and blur-like motion, Naruto swung the blade through his assaulter's neck. It cut through like a hot knife through butter. Naruto didn't waste time on watching him thrash around. He turned and aimed a finger at the man that held him down. Water gun jutsu. Wait, I was as far as he got. He stood up. There was one more to kill. Naruto made his way up a flight of creaky stairs. They didn't make a sound. He stopped at a locked door. He could see that his target was behind it, trying to hide. Naruto simply pushed a little chakra into the Tanto. It began to glow a pure white. With a wave of his hand, he cut the door down like it was paper. The target sat at his desk, terrified. Wait. He spoke, trying to be calm. I can give you money. Naruto said nothing as he fired a water bullet into the man's head. He turned to leave. His mission was complete. He met Kat and Sai outside of the building. Shinobi leave no trace. Sai spoke. Naruto looked at the building. Do you have anything large enough? Naruto didn't answer, he just began weaving hand signs. Water style. Black rain jutsu. The black mist began forming over the warehouse. It shaped itself into a cloud. The cloud began growing larger and larger until it was wide enough to cover the warehouse. Once it was, black rain began to fall. Boil. Naruto spoke. Back away. They did. Once they were out of range, Naruto raised the pressure of the jutsu. This forced the black rain out faster and in a larger quantity. Naruto then joined his teammates. Without aiming, he threw a kunai with an exploding note attached to it. The height of the fire was reached the sky. They made their way to camp once the fire started. The further they were, the less suspicious they looked. There was an awkward silence, even for the shinobi. Naruto. Kat spoke, gaining his attention. Naruto looked at her, it made her flinch. His cold red eyes showed absolutely nothing. There was no regret, no anger, no joy, it simply was. Under their eyes were an endless stream of tears that had no end. Who are you? Sai asked. The question held much meaning. The answer would hold just as much. Naruto looked at Sai, even the emotionless Root felt a chill. I am a ninja. A ninja was supposed to be an emotionless killer of the shadows. He was on his way. That didn't mean she couldn't feel the emotions falling from him's tears for him. She pulled the blonde into a hug. The tears he didn't cry continued with hers added along. She had always been his protector along with Dog. Someone that was supposed to make him feel safe. It tore her heart as she watched his being strangled. It tore it even further to see what he had become. Naruto had returned to the village with his team. He had returned to his regular emotional self after the hug. It took him a full day to get over what he had done. How did the mission go? Hiruzen asked. It was a success. They answered as one. Good, all but Cat are dismissed. The other two left. Anything I should know about? Hiruzen asked. No, Hokage-sama. She replied, no need to tell more than needed. Permission to speak freely, sir. Granted. You got what you wanted. She spoke with barely contained venom. You got your weapon. It's not like that, Cat. He tried to explain. Yes it is. Danzo stated. Silence. He snapped. Cat, you must. She cut him off. The villagers couldn't break him. The ninja couldn't break him. The mission couldn't break him, but it came pretty damn close. Your point? Danzo asked. You did break his trust. Cat explained to her cage, don't push it or you might break his loyalty. That boy has an iron will. Hiruzen spoke. An iron will, an unholy amount of chakra and no reason to stay. Cat listed. Then we simply give him a reason. Naruto made his way towards the ramen stand. He needed to feed his addiction. Hello, welcome Naruto-kun. AM squealed, where were you? I heard you were on a mission. Does that mean you decided to be a ninja? Tucci asked. Yes and yes on both accounts. Naruto answered. Tucci shouted, I was so close to getting you with AM. Dad. She shouted as she hit in the head with a frying pan. Well, can you tell us anything about it? Tucci asked, unaffected by the blow. Sorry, but no. He answered. The way he answered gave the father and daughter a small pause. Without another word, they handed him the first bowl of ramen. He took it gratefully and began to eat it at a slow pace. The Ichirakus were worried. They noticed that he began to shudder as he ate while letting out small gasps. When they looked at his food, they saw he had stopped eating. Instead, drop after drop of his tears fell into the bowl. Naruto-kun. AM spoke. Naruto didn't respond to her, he just continued to eat his tear-flavored ramen. Not knowing what else to do, AM pulled the blonde into the back. When they were out of sight, she pulled him into a hug. That was all it took to break the leaky dam. Naruto let all of his tears fall freely onto the ramen waitress. She only held him tighter, hoping to comfort him as best she could. I'm sorry. He whimpered, I ruined your ramen. SHH, it's okay Naruto-kun. She cooed. Let all out, AM's here. They knew he couldn't speak of the missions he went on, but it didn't mean he had to suffer alone. Change, okay team. Kakashi called, that's the end of our missions for the day. Their missions consisted of doing chores that civilians were too lazy to do. It irked both Sasuke and Sakura to no end. Naruto was content, the less killing he had to do the better. When are you going to get us a real mission? Sasuke asked. The Uchiha was past tired of chores. Sasuke, we've been over this. Kakashi sighed. We can only get a higher mission after your teamwork improves. I think it's as good as it's going to get. Naruto mumbled. Like you know anything. Sakura screamed. Naruto cast the wannabe Kunoichi a glance. It wasn't a glare, a flirtatious one, it was hollow. He's had that look ever since the Anbu took him away. Kakashi realized. I should have done more. That was a week ago. Ever since, he wouldn't get into his banter with them. She couldn't take it anymore. Hey idiot. She called when she saw him leaving, why are you trying to be cool, you'll never match up to Sasuke. She spoke. Especially with the way you dress. Naruto looked at his outfit in curiosity. What's wrong with the way I dress? It was the first hint of emotion that he actually showed that didn't scare her. You should get something more practical. Kakashi spoke in. Both of you, a pink and red dress isn't helpful in battle. But I need to be pretty for Sasuke-kun. She whined. She turned to said Uchiha, would you dot? No. She turned to yell at Naruto, only to see he had already left. Naruto had taken what Kakashi said to heart, he refused Sakura's notion. Hey Naruto. A voice called. He turned to see Ino walking towards him. Hello Ino-chan. He greeted, ignoring her blush. What are you up to? I just finished team training. She answered, what about you? Same here. He agreed, now I need to do some cloth show. He never had a chance to finish before his fellow blonde started dragging him around. I thought you would never realize it. She gushed, as an expert in the field of shopping, I will aid you. Something told him to just go with it. Fine. Alright, tell me what you're looking for in your outfit. Ino ordered. I need something that's loose enough for me to be flexible, but not enough to be baggy and caught. Naruto listed. It needs to be inconspicuous and still be practical. Anything else? She questioned. No, I leave myself in your capable hands. Naruto smiled. Ino looked at her fellow blonde smile and couldn't help but blush. Well, none are more capable than I. She declared. We're here. Naruto looked to see that they were at a ninja-only store. It was also one of the stores that kicked him out because of his fuzzy situation. Are there any other stores? He asked his fellow blonde. What do you mean, this place is one of the best? She stated. Naruto said nothing else as they walked inside. The store was full of useful material, he had to admit that. Not just shinobi clothing, but weapons as well. Hello Yamanaka-chan, what can I? The owner stopped when he laid eyes on Naruto. I'm sorry, but we're closed for the day. What, why? Ino asked. Certain circumstances prevent me from mentioning it. He answered as he motioned his head towards Naruto. What is he going on about? Ino asked herself. Naruto had walked away to study the inventory as soon as he entered, but he had been listening. Another demon hater, another fool. He had only looked up long enough to give an empty look to the owner. Then he made his way outside. Hey Naruto. Ino called as she followed behind. Wait up. She had caught up with her fellow blonde only to see that he was busy. He seemed to be having a conversation with an elderly bandaged man. When he was done, he turned and came back to her. What was that all about? Ino asked. It turns out I won't be needing to shop. Naruto answered. Everything has been taken care of. Oh, well, that's good. She replied uncertainly. They stood there in silence for a moment, neither knowing what to say. Thankfully, Ino's stomach did. Would you like to get something to eat? He asked. Ino looked at her fellow blonde and gained a predatory smirk. She leaned in and placed a finger on Naruto's shirt. Are you asking me out on a date? She asked playfully. Yes. He answered calmly. She was shocked that he was so calm about a reverse play, most boys would be a blushing heap. But she wouldn't give up. What would your Sakura-chan say? She asked. She would insult us, compliment the Uchiha who would ignore her, then attack me. He answered as if stating the weather. Ino took a moment to think about all she knew about the blonde and tried to add it all up. Nothing made sense. Alright, let's go. Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder and pulled her into a body flicker. When he arrived in front of Ichiraku's ramen, she let out a cry of shock and outrage. How did you do that? She asked. And why bring me here? I'm on a diet. That's bad. Naruto stated. You shouldn't diet. How else am I going to keep my figure? She asked, striking a pose. Woo, work it girl. A lady with dango stated as she walked past. Ino quickly stopped when she realized that she was in public. Ino-chan, we're shinobi. Naruto stated. Diets aren't needed when we're pushing ourselves to the limit every day. Tell that to my team. She mumbled. They only stuff themselves or lay about. After a bit of an inner debate, she decided to eat a bowl with the blonde. Hey old man, I've got a new customer for you. Naruto called. Tucci walked out to greet his number one customer only to pause. He took one look at Ino and frowned. I thought we had a deal Naruto. He shouted. Marry my daughter and you can get all the ramen you'd ever want. What? Was Naruto's only reply. I never agreed to that. What? An enraged Tucci shouted. Is my daughter not good enough? Who make a deal like that? Ino asked. Tucci didn't get to answer as he slumped over, holding his head in pain. Behind him was Am, holding a frying pan. A bad father. She whispered. So, what can I get you to? Naruto watched in amusement as Ino devoured her ramen. She had said that she would only try it, now she was enjoying it. She was eating her third helping when she realized he was staring. It never occurred to her that she may have thrown away her dignity in the manner that she was eating. Toji would have been proud. What, do I have something on my face? She asked as a light blush was forming. Yes. Naruto answered. Here, let me. What's this? An unruly voice asked. The two turned to see two unruly men walk in, both giving Naruto dirty looks. Since they weren't wearing headbands, they were obviously civilians. Looks like the demons trying to put the moves on her. The other answered. Hey, I won't have you harassing my customer. Tucci spoke seriously. Alright, we just came for some food. One of the men spoke. That's not a problem, is it? Nah sir. Tucci grumbled. He was still a businessman. The father and daughter walked into the back to begin preparing the food. Once they were gone, the two newcomers turned their attention to the blondes. So sweet thing, this boy bothering you? One asked. The same one that called Naruto a demon. Ino looked at Naruto, only to see him calmly eating his ramen, as if there was no problem. She decided to follow his example and enjoy herself. She continued eating as if they weren't there. We're talking to you. The second spoke. Ino turned and gave the men a glare. My date, she emphasized. Is keeping me happy, I am being bothered by two goons. The man shared a glance before turning towards the blondes. Goons are we, maybe we start acting like it then. He snapped. He prepared to smack Ino, only for Naruto to grab his hand and slam it onto the table. He proceeded to pierce the man's wrist with a kunai. Naruto ignored the shout of pain as he pierced all the way to the table. The second man stood and began drawing his sword. Don't move. Naruto ordered the second man. If I remove the kunai, he will lose a lot of blood, there's just so many veins in the wrist. Naruto stated without emotion as he twisted the weapon. If you get him to a hospital fast, he'll survive. Naruto reached into the man's pocket and pulled out his wallet. He tossed it to a shocked Am. This should cover everything. She stated after counting. Naruto nodded and left, leaving the kunai in the man's wrist. It took Ino a moment to realize that he left before she ran after him. "Naruto?" she called, stopping him. "What was that?" "He was going to hit you." Naruto answered. I stopped him. "Yeah, but you did it like you knew his exact movements." Ino stated. "Since when were you that good?" she asked. "What secrets are you hiding?" Whatever kind of conversation they were going to have was cut short when the man with the sword ran out of the stand. He charged straight for the blondes, his sight set on Naruto. The blonde sidestepped the first swing and made some distance. "What do you think you're doing?" Ino asked in shock. "What about your friend?" The man didn't listen. "Die demon." Naruto reached towards his back and pulled out the white blade. He caught the second blow with it and held the man in a power struggle. "You broke the third Hokage's law," Naruto stated. "Punishment. Death." The man was taken back by Naruto and was beginning to become scared. This wasn't the punching bag that the village had become so used to. Neither was it the fool that he acted. This Naruto was cold, along the lines of a shinobi. He attempted to push Naruto back by adding more force behind his blade. Naruto just countered it. It never occurred to the man that he might not be able to beat Naruto in a chakra battle. "I will be your executioner," Naruto stated. He watched as the blonde raised a single finger to his forehead. "What, do you have loaded fingers or something?" He was answered by a water bullet passing through his skull. Naruto noticed Ino gasp as he killed the man then and there. "You demon, you killed him." A voice spoke. They turned to see that it was the man that Naruto stabbed in the wrist. He was holding said limb under his armpit, trying to stop the blood flow. Naruto turned his finger to him. The man paled when he saw the results it had on his friend. If it collided with him, he would be finished. "You broke the third Hokage's law," Naruto repeated. "Punishment. Stop." Naruto's aim was thrown off by Ino pushing his hand away from his target. Luckily he hadn't fired. "What are you doing, Naruto? How could you kill them?" Naruto met her gaze and Ino jumped back in shock. They were no longer the sparkling and mischievous eyes that she had grew used to. They were empty, like a machine competing its function. "He broke a law, punishable by death," he answered, his tone just as empty as his eyes. "I'm doing my duty." He never broke eye contact with her as he aimed his finger at the fleeing man. He didn't need to. Activating his eyes, he could see the man trying to escape. He fired. "How could you do that?" Ino asked, feeling sick. "It was my duty," he answered as he turned and left in a body flicker. Ino was outraged. He had just left her. In the middle of their date, he had left her. She barely remembered that he executed 2 men. Her mind was on the fact that she had been stood up. Oh hell no. She would get her answers. She ran towards the only place that she knew about him being, minus Ichiraku Ramen, the training ground. There she greeted Team 7. "Hey, I'm looking for Naruto," she asked in a huff. "Where is he? Is there a problem?" Kakashi asked. "He left in the middle of our date," she declared angrily. Her declaration was greeted with boisterous laughter from Sakura. "You went on a date with Naruto?" she asked incredulously. "Finally realize Sasu-kun is out of your league, Ino pig." She was silenced when her sensei stepped forward. "What happened?" Ino turned her gaze away from the jounin, unable to answer. She loved to gossip, but this was something she just couldn't speak. It seemed Kakashi understood that since I smiled. "Here." He handed her a piece of paper. "This is his address." "Thank you, sensei." She spoke before running off. "That was weird," Sakura mumbled. She didn't ask Sasu-kun for a single date. Ino looked at the paper over and over, trying to make sure she had the right place. "This is where he lives." She couldn't believe it. The place Naruto lived was horrible. There was glass from the broken windows all around. Spray tags of calling him a demon and other slanderous names. Yet the other apartments were completely fine. "Whatever," she mumbled. She walked inside, no even bothering to knock. As soon as she was inside, she noticed she was not alone. The hand grabbed her by the ponytail in a strong grip. It pulled so hard that it dragged her entire body, slamming her into a wall. She saw a glisten that she recognized as a weapon. She closed her eyes, waiting for the inevitable. "Ino?" She opened her eyes to see a pair of familiar blues. "Naruto?" she screamed. "I was almost killed by the dead last." "What are you doing here?" he asked, putting his weapon away. "What am I doing here?" she asked incredulously. "You left me at our date." "There were complications, Ino," he stated. "You were there, I assumed it was over." "You assumed," she screamed. "I'm so mad, I could knock your head off." "You can try," Naruto stated blankly. Ino was taken back by the sudden change in personality. As if her threat was taken literally and he would react in kind. "What happened to you?" she asked nervously. "This isn't like you." Like me," he asked in disbelief. "What do you know about me?" Ino pushed herself further back into the wall. She was actually afraid of him. "What happened to the Naruto that always shouted about being Hokage?" she asked in a small voice. "I grew up," he answered. "Something you've yet to do." "Of course I grew up," she stated, offended by his claim. "Just look at me." Naruto did, he gave her a quick once over with his eyes. I am. He stated. I am not impressed. What? Naruto glared at his fellow blonde. This isn't a game we play, Ino. Naruto stated. We are shinobi of the leaf. I know that better than you, I come from a clan of shinobi. Well, Yushi covered her mouth, shocked by her own words. I didn't mean. Of course you did. Naruto stated emotionlessly. After all, the dead last is talking down to Yamanaka. Ino was afraid once again. I took you down in only a second, close to killing you. He stated. What do you think will happen to you on a real mission? He asked. Do you think you can let your team do all the work, or are you still a fangirl that thinks Sasu-kun will rescue you? No. She lied. You're weak, Ino. He stated. You starve yourself to keep your so-called figure and hardly train from your own explanation. You think you're strong? She asked, gaining her courage. Where do you get strength? I train every day to make myself stronger for my village and family name. He continued. I've tasted the real shinobi world, it's bitter. As Naruto ended his tirade, Ino noticed that he had been crying. He didn't seem to be aware of it as the tears fell freely. He actually seemed pretty calm, yet they showed no sign of stopping. That mission with Iruka was real? She asked. Yes. Naruto answered, tears increasing. I was taking the shinobi world for games, I lost Iruka as a consequence. I don't know you at all. Ino admitted. I'd like to her stomach silence her with a loud grumble. Naruto actually smiled at this, which grew into a laughing fit. Ino could only sit there and blush at her body's betrayal. If you want to get to know me, I could tell you. Naruto offered. Over dinner, my treat. 2 dates in one day? Ino asked, gaining a smirk. You might end up breaking your wallet with my expensive tastes. I was planning on cooking. He stated. Anything you want. Naruto cooks, I really don't know anything about him. She realized. He seemed to read her mind. I had to learn to take care of myself, Ino, that means cooking my own meals. He stated. I believe I do a damn good job at it too, but a second opinion would be appreciated. Ino returned home, her mind heavy. Everything she thought she knew about her fellow blonde was wrong. That much she knew, that was all she knew. That, and he's a hell of a good cook. She felt ashamed of how she pigged out. He only smiled and offered her more, knowing she couldn't stop. There goes my diet. Inoichi Yamanaka looked at the contemplative look on his daughter's face. The only time he'd ever seen her that focused usually involved a boy or cloths. Yet this was something else entirely. Everything okay? Inoichi asked. Ino jumped, never noticing him. If he had been an enemy. Daddy, do we have any jutsu for split personalities? She asked. And some training equipment. Wave. Sensei, can we please get a real mission? Sakura asked. These chores are pointless and demeaning. Sasuke stated. Kakashi looked at his team with a simple gaze. With me, the training I've been giving Sasuke and the training Naruto has acquired, they can probably handle it. He reasoned. Sure, let's ask for a C rank. He spoke. Let's go. Okage-sama, Team 7 would like a higher mission. Kakashi spoke. Well, do you think they're ready? The Hokage asked, receiving a nod. I do have one mission, send him in. Then walked a man who smelt strongly of sake. What's this? I asked for ninja, not a bunch of brats. He spoke rudely. And what's with the blonde one, he looks like he forgot how to smile. I've had enough of this. Naruto thought. You should know this blonde one can kill you with a finger. Naruto stated as he aimed a finger at the drunk. What, do you have loaded fingers? He teased. He was silenced when his bottle shattered in his hand. He does. Everyone, minus Naruto stated. Well, that's nice to know. The drunk nervously stated. I am the super bridge builder Tazuna, your mission is to protect me. Meet up in front of the east gate at sunrise. Kakashi ordered. Don't be late. Hot calling the kettle black. The team thought. Good morning, team. Kakashi greeted. The Jounin had to duck to avoid a water bullet from Naruto. Who are you? Sakura demanded. I'm your sensei. He shouted. Liar, Kakashi-sensei is never on time. Sakura screeched. I can be on time. Their sensei mumbled. Well, team L. Wait. A new voice called. They all turned to see Ino running up to them, carrying a bag. Hello, Ino-chan. Naruto greeted. Hello, Naruto-kun. She added the suffix with a blush. What are you doing here, piggy? Sakura asked. White forehead. Ino retaliated before turning to Naruto. I heard from sensei your team was taking a C rank, I'm a little jealous actually. She stated nervously. What's in the bag? Naruto asked. This seemed to make her a little more nervous. Well, since you cooked on our last date, I decided she began fidgeting with the bag. I made you a meal for your mission. Ha. Sakura laughed. You went on a date with Naruto? Sakura asked in disbelief. I know you're desperate to get to Sasuke-kun, but that method won't work. Ino took a single glance at Sasuke and her rival was I like that. I know my cooking won't be as good as yours, but I hope you like it. Ino stated with a light smile and large blush. Naruto took the bag with a smile of his own. "I'm sure I love it," Naruto stated before gaining a mischievous smile. "But can I get some sugar to go with it?" Ino blushed even harder at the message. This would be her first kiss with her fellow blonde, her first kiss period. She leaned in and gave her fellow blonde the kiss he asked for. It was a light peck, but it lasted a full minute. "I could get used to that," Naruto stated. "Strawberry lip gloss. Not to interrupt, but we have a mission." Kakashi spoke. "I'm an idiot unless you want to get left," Sakura stated. "See you when I get back, Ino-chan." Ino watched as the team made their way off on their mission. She was sadder to see her fellow blonde go than she thought she would be. "Hurry back," she thought. "I hope he enjoys his gift." She wasn't talking about the food. "Since when did you and Ino start dating?" Kakashi asked. "Not too long ago, a week actually," Naruto answered. "And you already have her cooking your meals?" Tazuna asked. "I'm sure it'll make a great poison," Sakura added. "It was made by a pig after all." Naruto was about to defend his girlfriend when he saw a puddle on the ground. "That's not natural. It hadn't rained in weeks and has been relatively warm as of late." Using his eyes, he saw 2 chakra signatures inside. Before he could signal his sensei, the ninja struck. They wrapped Kakashi in a shuriken chain bond. In a single pull, they tore him to pieces. "Kakashi-sensei!" Sakura shouted. Naruto saw Sakura freeze up while Sasuke charged in to engage the enemy. "Foolish." Naruto threw a kunai in front of Sasuke, stopping him in his tracks while aiming another finger at one of the enemies. He fired, hitting him in the side of his knee. This caused his partner to lag because of the weight. "Sasuke, pull back now," Naruto ordered. "Don't order me dead last," Sasuke snapped. The unwounded shinobi disengaged the bond and charged again, only to be close-lined by Kakashi. "Sensei, you're alive," Sakura cheered. After his return, Kakashi quickly handled the last ninja. They were rogue shinobi from the Mist Village. "What happened to you, sensei?" Sakura asked. "I wanted to know who these 2 were after," Kakashi answered. "Also, I wanted to see how you 3 handled yourself in a real situation. I would have been fine if the dead last hadn't got in my way," Sasuke sneered. "Our mission is to protect the client, not run to fight every ninja," Naruto countered. "Ninja that we knew nothing about, it was a foolish and suicidal thing to do. You can't talk to Sasuke like Sakura began." "He's right," Kakashi stated. "What?" Sasuke screamed in outrage. "You can't charge into the unknown," he explained. "What if there had been more enemies hidden?" "And then?" The Uchiha grunted. "Now Tazuna, care to tell me 2 ninja are after you?" Kakashi asked the nervous builder. Tazuna began giving a teary explanation about his village being destroyed by a wealthy man named Gato. He explained that his home's only hope was to complete the bridge. "Tazuna, a mission like this is easily an air rank," Kakashi explained. "I'm sorry, but we'll have to end it. Please, we need your help," he begged. Well, after a bit of a team debate and Tazuna adding a bit of guilt about his daughter and grandson, they decided to continue. "Hey kid, sorry about before," Tazuna spoke. "I didn't think much of you before, but now I see you've got a good head on your shoulders and skill to match." "That's fine," Naruto stated. "Just doing my duty." Sasuke had heard the brief conversation between them and scowled even harder. The Uchiha had been willing to tolerate the dead last since he stayed out of his way. He had even shown that he'd be semi-useful. But never would he tolerate the dead last showing him up. "I am the Uchiha. I am the elite," he thought. "It isn't right that he shows such skill. Skills that I should have." He turned to the blonde, who met his gaze, and flinched. It was as if Naruto could tell what he was thinking and didn't care. "I'll show you," he mentally growled. He took a few steps ahead of the team and scanned the area. "You're out of formation," Naruto called. Sasuke ignored him. "There." He threw a kunai towards a bush. This put everyone on edge. Naruto took one glance at the bush before sighing. He made his way towards it and pulled out a rabbit. "You nearly gave me a heart attack for nothing," Tazuna stated. "Get down." They did, just as a large blade passed over them. It collided with a tree, on it was the enemy. "Zabuza Mamachi, the demon of the mist." Kakashi spoke. "This'll be tough, I'll have to use it." He raised his headband to reveal a single Sharingan eye. "Copycat Kakashi, what an honor." Zabuza spoke. "Hand over the bridge builder and I'll let you all live." "Not happening," Naruto said as he aimed a finger at the mist nin. "What, do you have loaded fingers or something?" he asked. He was answered by a water bullet being fired at him. Only for it to miss his head by 2 inches. "Bad aim," Sasuke mocked. "No," Kakashi answered. "He dodged it, barely. If I hadn't seen the jutsu before, it would have killed me," Zabuza stated. "Where does a kid learn a mist jutsu?" "Why would I share knowledge with the enemy?" Naruto asked back. "Fair enough." Zabuza had pulled himself back into the mist and began flooding the area with his killing intent. "Careful everyone, Zabuza is a master of the silent killing," Kakashi warned. Naruto had activated his eyes to see better. Kakashi was a few yards away from them, scanning for Zabuza. Sasuke and Sakura looked as if their heart were going to pop. Thought, Sakura seemed to think the Uchiha would keep her safe. Said Uchiha was close to taking his own life. Wait, there was someone else. In the trees was another chakra signature. Was it friend or foe? It's over. A voice spoke from behind. Naruto turned and impaled Zabuza with his WC blade. Instead of blood, out came water. Naruto watched as the mist nin dissolved into a puddle of water. The clone. He realized. I was careless to let him get so close. It seems the kid has some skill, can the same be said about his sensei? Another Zabuza asked. Let's find out. Kakashi spoke. Naruto watched as the fight progressed. His sensei and Zabuza seemed to be on the same skill level, only for his sensei to make a mistake. He dived into the lake. This allowed Zabuza the chance to imprison him in a sphere of water. Get out of here. Kakashi screamed. Take Tazuna and leave. Sensei, I am just disappointed. Naruto spoke. I let it slide that you just wanted us to abandon you, even after your teachings, the mission and all. The blonde continued. I'm just disappointed that you decided to challenge a water shinobi in the water. Getting scolded by your student, huh? Zabuza spoke with a chuckle. You deserve it. Kakashi had the decency to look down in shame. Besides, what makes you think Zabuza will just let us go? The Mist Nin's chuckle confirmed their suspicion. Sasuke, Sakura. Naruto spoke as he made his way to the water. Protect Azuna. Naruto didn't wait for his team to respond, he charged forward. Seems he wants to play. Zabuza spoke as he summoned a few clones. They quickly surrounded Naruto and each drew their oversized blade. Wind style. Vacuum wave. Naruto took a deep breath and began spinning in a circle. He released the air in a compressed blade of chakra that knocked the clones away and cut through them as he turned. Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto formed 4 clones by his side. They charged the demon of the mist in a diamond formation. Zabuza swung at the first Naruto, severing him in half. The second Naruto ran behind the swing and held the weapon, keeping Zabuza from swinging again. He then delivered a kick to the Mist Nin's upper rib, just under the armpit. This forced him to slack up on the grip, but not enough for the clone to snatch it and run. With his weapon arm restrained, Zabuza kicked the next clone, turning him into smoke. The next one was already on Zabuza, restraining his leg, forcing him into an uncomfortable position. This left him wide open for the last Naruto to get in close. Wind style. Blade of wind. Naruto emitted wind chakra from the tip of his fingers, giving him pinpoint cutting accuracy. He delivered a cut to the demon on the mist's exposed torso. Zabuza jumped back, releasing Kakashi, just in time to avoid a fatal wound. He did not escape being wounded. There was a diagonal cut going across his midsection with a thin trail of blood leaking. He grabbed the closest Naruto around the neck and raised him, while the blonde fought to be released. With a quick jerk, he turned this Naruto into smoke. Hum one kid. He growled. Actually Zabuza, your fight is with me. Kakashi spoke. Afraid your genin's luck might have ran out? Zabuza asked. That wasn't luck, that was skill. Kakashi stated. He forced you to release me. He pointed to the Mist Nin's midsection. That's proof enough. Shut up. Zabuza shouted as he charged. The last clone charged as well, while the real Naruto backed away to land. Zabuza's eyes caught sight of the clone's face long enough to see him mutter one word. Boom. Thanks to years as a shinobi, Zabuza had enough reflex to bring his large sword in front of him as a makeshift shield. Just as the Naruto clone went up in smoke. What? It wasn't the exploding clone jutsu. It was a distraction. He turned to see Kakashi finish weaving a series of hand signs. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu. The jutsu followed its namesake. Zabuza could do nothing as the water dragged him away like a rag doll. Only when he collided with a tree did he stop, but the jutsu continued against him. When it was finally over, Zabuza was too battered and exhausted to continue. He looked up to see Kakashi in the tree above him. It's over. Kakashi stated. He prepared to deliver the final strike when he saw Zabuza stiffen and collapse. In his neck were 2 senbon needles. I'd like to thank you for your assistance. A new voice spoke. He turned to see a masked nin, a hunter nin. You're a mist hunter nin. Kakashi stated. I assume you're here for Zabuza. I am. Why didn't you help in the fight? Sasuke asked. Are the hunter nin from Mist too weak to handle their own trash? I could ask the same of you. The hunter nin countered. Wind style. Vacuum wave. The hunter nin was able to dodge the attack with relative ease and made off with Zabuza in a body flicker. What was that idiot? Sakura screeched. Why did you attack that ninja? Are you trying to start a war? The hunter was a fake. Naruto stated. How would you? She was silenced by Kakashi placing a firm grip on her shoulder. Naruto, explain. Kakashi ordered. He took a look at his team before sighing. My bloodline told me that the hunter was actually friendly towards Zabuza. He stated. That means they must be friends or acquaintances. Bloodline. Sasuke spoke. I refuse to divulge any valuable information. Naruto stated. Must not be anything special. Sasu taunted. Well, it isn't monkey see monkey do. Naruto countered. Sensei, your chakra, I know. Kakashi stated. Naruto, you're in command until. Their sensei said nothing more as he lost consciousness. He would have hit the ground if Naruto hadn't caught him. Sensei, he's fine. Naruto stated as he laid the jonin down. He just has a case of chakra exhaustion. He spoke as he lowered Kakashi's headband. Where is your house? Close. The bridge builder answered. Sasuke and Sakura. Naruto spoke. You two carry sensei. What? Why? Sakura asked. Because if we run into trouble, I'm the only one combat ready. Naruto answered. Who put you in charge? Sasuke asked with a sneer. Your sensei did. Tazuna answered. Sasuke, if you keep acting out of line then I will consider you a threat to the mission. Naruto stated. What are you going to do? Sasuke taunted. Write me up for insubordination. No, I'll execute you. He answered as he raised a finger. Naruto answered with an uncaring tone that was too familiar. It made the Uchiha's blood boil as he thought of his brother. He's just like him. He seethed. Lead the way, Tazuna. Naruto spoke. They had arrived at Tazuna's home where they met his daughter and grandson. After placing their sensei away, Naruto wrote a letter asking the village for assistance. Though, there was a hidden message in there as well. Naruto and his so-called team had managed to get to Tazuna's home without any extra difficulty. After a little rest, their sensei would be able to speak to them, though he would still be bedridden. Are you sure you and your team will be able to continue the mission? Tazuna asked, feeling guilty of Kakashi's condition. I wouldn't blame you if you decide to leave. Naruto smiled at the man. We decided to take this mission. Yeah, well, we only feel lousier about lying. The man mumbled. At last. Sasuke called. Naruto ignored him. So tell me about Wave. I'm talking to you. Sasuke snapped. Well, we're a small village that. Tazuna didn't get to finish talking to Naruto as Sasuke lunged for the blonde. Naruto quickly spun around and grabbed the Uchiha's hand, pulling it behind his back in a painful hold. He then forced the Uchiha's head onto the table and placed his fingers on his temple. That was assault of your leader. Naruto stated as he added pressure. I could and should execute you. He sighed as he pulled back. But that would compromise the mission, now what do you want? How? Sasuke asked. How were you, the dead last, able to fight Zabuza when sensei couldn't? He took me lightly because I'm a child genin. Naruto stated. Because of that, along with my bloodline and training, I was able to take him by surprise. Had he been intent to simply kill me instead of playing around, we'd all be dead. Excuse me. Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, spoke up. Your sensei is asking for you. Team, I have some bad news. Kakashi spoke. Zabuza is still alive. Naruto stated. And we are underprepared. Naruto finished. I also received a letter from the village. Kakashi went over the letter once before sighing. He handed it back to the blonde. They would be sending no backup. So we need to train. Kakashi stated. But sensei, how can you train us if you can't walk? Sakura asked. I won't need to. Kakashi stated. Now help me up and outside. Kakashi had led them to the back where trees were surrounding the area. Okay, team. Kakashi spoke. I will be teaching you to climb trees without hands. What? Naruto spoke. Something wrong dead last? Sasuke asked. Can't handle a little ninja training. Naruto ignored Sasuke in favor of glaring at his sensei. And all this time, you haven't taught them the tree climbing technique? He asked in disappointment. What have you been doing? You say something. Kakashi asked, looking from his book. Naruto, since you know this, you will be guarding Tazuna with a nod. He was off. Wait, he needs to train more than us. Sakura shouted. He was the dead last. Did you fight a renowned jonin and help force him to retreat? Kakashi asked, highly annoyed. No, then do as you're told. I could beat the dead last with a hand tied behind my back. Sasuke declared. So could I, Sakura added, hoping to impress Sasuke. Enough of this. Naruto spoke. Train or die when we face the enemy. He turned to finish his own training. Once he was far enough away, he opened the letter. Team 7, though your mission is unauthorized, I will allow you to continue. Though we are unable to send any capable shinobi for this, you will have to continue on your own. Your mission is still the same, protect the client. If matters become too much to handle, return to the village. Third Hokage. Naruto went over the letter twice, unimpressed. This wasn't a letter from the Hokage, it was a letter from Danzo. The Hokage's part was just a forgery in case one of his team had gotten a hold of it. Now for the real message, the one directed to him. He added chakra to the paper. Zabuza is a threat, though he has potential. Confront him, if he cannot be persuaded to join the village, then he must be dealt with. Beto is the real threat. Kill him and the village will be free. This is what Naruto had expected. It was a hidden message from Danzo, concealed in case a member of Team 7 had seen it. Naruto had returned to see an exhausted-looking Sasuke and Sakura. The old him would have laughed at them, but he's changed since then. How did it go? He asked their sensei. I nearly made it to the top on the first try. Sakura boasted. Only because you have such little chakra. Naruto stated. They are making progress. Kakashi stated, ending the conversation. Why are you trying so hard? Inari, Tazuna's grandson asked. You're just going to die. Have a little faith. Naruto spoke. You think you can just come in here and be a hero, he snapped. Fine. Naruto stated coldly. We'll leave. What? Tsunami gasped in despair. You can't. Of course we can, we're technically helping out of charity. Naruto stated. Though there is one problem. What? The matter of our finance. Naruto stated. How much would Gato pay for your head, Tazuna? He asked, scaring the family. Naruto Kakashi spoke. Then again, Tsunami is very beautiful. Naruto continued. How much could I sell her for? The entire family, as well as Team 7, were shocked by Naruto's words. Why you can't mean that? Tazuna paled. You're forgetting we're ninja, we kill for money. Naruto stated. If Sakura ever gets a figure, she'll have to seduce and possibly sleep with people for the sake of the mission. What? The news shocked her. I could kill them both with just a finger. To prove his point, he aimed his fingers at them. What are you going to do about it? He asked. Inari watched as his grandfather closed his eyes, as if accepting his fate. His mother just teared up. Stop. The shout came from Inari. He had grabbed a fork and lunged for Naruto. The blonde grabbed the child by his neck and dropped him to the ground. So you do have some fight in you. Naruto stated. Good, use that and try helping the situation instead of crying. With that, Naruto left. Must keep calm. He thought. He was disappointed in himself. The client's grandson, a child, had managed to get under his skin. He was a shinobi, he needed to control himself. That was why he came out, to blow off some steam. He ended up tearing up a good amount of the area with his training. I didn't even get to finish my meal. He moaned. He stopped and slapped himself on the head. How could he forget that Ino had prepared a meal for him? She'd give him hell if she found out. He unsealed it and let the smell relax him. It was a large bowl of ramen, still as fresh as the moment he sealed it. He sat there and decided to enjoy his meal. Naruto was awakened by a familiar presence getting close. He didn't give away the slightest hint that he was awake. He kept his breathing steady while keeping his body relaxed. He could feel the person thanks to his bloodline as well as see with his eyes closed. It was a woman, just a little older than him. Though it was the chakra that threw him off. It was different from the others. It was strong, but different. He'd remembered reading about this, but couldn't place it. Then there was the inner debate she seemed to be having. On whether or not to kill him. She was getting closer. Just a little closer. He thought. Excuse me. She called. You'll catch a cold if you sleep out here. Naruto opened his eyes and examined the one who woke him. What's she playing at? He didn't know, but he'd play along. No need to worry about that. He stated. What are you doing out here, miss? She held up a basket as she answered. I'm collecting herbs for a sick friend. She began looking at the destroyed area. Though I may need to check elsewhere. Naruto sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. Guess I got a little carried away. I apologize for that, I was being excessive. He stated. I'll find more for you. He turned away and activated his bloodline, not letting her get a good look at him. He wanted to keep his eyes a secret from as many people as he possibly could. Even though he had his back to her, he never took his attention from her. Thanks to the true 360-degree vision, he could see her perfectly. There are some just a little distance from here. He thought. I'll show you. Just as he had said, there was more of the herbs near the water. Your help is greatly appreciated. She stated. She's sincere. He thought as she began picking herbs that he had laid next to. He began helping her, no reason to be rude. Are you a ninja? She asked kindly. Yes. He answered. Are you strong? I'd like to think so. Do you have any precious people? A few, but they mean the world to me. He answered with a warm smile. She returned the smile. Then you will be strong. They both stood as she began leaving, but stopped. You never gave your name. Naruto stated. You seem to be pretty comfortable heading off with a stranger, even after learning I was a ninja. He reached for his kunai. You're Zabuza's accomplice. Naruto was prepared for her chakra to flare. He wasn't prepared for the water behind him to lung at him. It froze on contact, freezing his kunai pouch, as well as his tanto. The bloodline. Now he understood her strange chakra. He realized he had taken his eyes off of the enemy. When he turned back, she was gone. He activated his bloodline and saw that she wasn't in the immediate area. Extending his range, he saw her fleeing at a fast speed. She's still in range. He raised a finger. He could get in a fatal shot or at least give her a critical wound. Why did she let me go? She had 3 different moments where she could have attacked, yet didn't. He let her go. My training isn't done. He thought bitterly. I'm still too emotional. Naruto had went back to the house. He had a mission he needed to prepare for. The execution of Geto, and if unable to persuade Zabuza as well as his accomplice. Naruto had his orders. Kill Geto. Ally with Zabuza and accomplice. If not, execute. He had his orders, he began immediately. Izuna and Naruto were walking through the village of Wave. They had made a lot of progress on the bridge thanks to Naruto's clones. They were able to not only replace the workers who quit, but add more as well. Thanks to Naruto's stamina, his clones were able to work without break. Izuna estimated the bridge would be done in a few days. Naruto was there to protect the worker, but also for a second reason. While Naruto did that job, he had a clone do a second. He had it scout and gain information. Clone Naruto had made his way to a slummier part of the dying village. It was worse than any part of the village that Naruto had previously seen. Which had still been worse than the slums back in his home village. There were people so malnutritioned that the rags they wore just hung off of them. Half the people that were lying in the streets were more than likely not drunk. He was sure they weren't anything at this point. Excuse me, sir. He felt a tug on his jacket. Naruto turned to see a small child. What can I do for you? Naruto asked. Do you have any food? The child asked. Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out a standard ration bar. It wasn't that appetizing, but it got the job done. A full-course meal at your disposal. Eat this. Naruto spoke. The kid did so. He ate as if the bar was going to leave him if he didn't get it down fast enough. It was probably the first decent thing he's eaten in too long. When it was gone, he gained a sad look before shock crossed his face. I'm not hungry anymore. He stated in wonder. Do you have more for my family? Naruto reached into his pouch to pull out a few more, but was stopped. The villagers had taken notice of his actions. Hey, he has food. Someone shouted. Please share, we're starving. Another spoke. One of the more desperate people had tried to steal it from Naruto. He had grabbed to Blonde's hand, only for Naruto to push him away. Please sir, I have starving children. A lady shouted. Forget the children, I'm hungry. Another spoke. Soon the people became aggressive, not to Naruto, but to each other. They were attacking each other just to get closer to Naruto. As if he would only choose them for food. Only the little child who had eaten wasn't fighting. He was too busy cowering behind Naruto. Enough of this. Naruto growled. He flared his chakra, enough for the civilians to feel, and they did. It was enough to stop their hunger-induced brawl. Now they were staring at Naruto with a mix of fear and awe. What was that? One of the braver asked. Look at you all, fighting over food like vermin. Naruto spoke, voice colder than ice. No wonder Geto was able to take over, there's no order. They began looking away in shame. He grabbed the last few ration bars he had. The villagers were looking at them as if they were more valuable than gold. I'll give these to whoever can give me information on finding Geto. Naruto offered. Silence. Even with their hunger, the villagers were too terrified of Geto. Fine. He thought. No reason to force them or let them suffer. Naruto threw them into the air. I hope this works. He thought. He weaved a few hand signs and sent the chakra towards the food. It was basically a variation of the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, though it was with food. He was pleasantly surprised when the food duplicated. Soon it began raining down onto the villagers who began entering a frenzy, each trying to get the most. One of the villagers, the mother, saw Naruto's disappointed gaze. A villager saw her stop in the frenzy, more began joining in the hesitation. Shame filled them all. One of the men began. I know where some of Geto's men are. The man had personally led Naruto to a small tavern in a better part of the village. There he found some of Geto's men in a bar, over a dozen of them, making a scene. They weren't doing much, but their actions told everything. They sat lazily in their chairs with their weapons out. The villagers that were there gave them a wide berth with obvious fear in them. Hey, get over here. One of the men ordered. We want more drinks. The waitress reluctantly made her way to the table. What can I get you gentlemen? She asked. Your best drink and some food. The apparent leader spoke. And put it on our tab. Another added. This earned a cruel laugh from the goons, none of the villagers joined. I am sorry to tell you this. The woman spoke, fear evident. But your tea-tab is overdue. One of the goons stood up menacingly as he spoke. Is it now? That was when Naruto had decided to enter, before things could get worse. He had walked straight towards the table beside the goons, never sparing them a glance. May I have a glass of water? He asked the waitress. She seemed happy to oblige, wanting to get away from the goon. You come into a bar and ask for water? One of the goons asked in disbelief. Naruto ignored the goon. When the lady returned, he handed her a few hundred Ryu bills. 1 Ryu equals $1. Keep the change. Naruto smiled. Now Naruto had the goon's attention, a few made their way over to his table. Looks like we have ourselves a big spender. The leader spoke. No, that's just to cover the damages. What damages? The waitress asked nervously. "A broken glass, a ruined table and some holes in the wall." He answered. "Lady, don't move." She froze at his cold tone. "The rest of you will pay off the remainder of your tab today." "Oh, where are we?" the leader asked. "And where exactly are these damages?" Naruto noticed two of the goons make their way behind him. He grabbed his glass of water and broke the edge on the table. He grabbed a shard with his free hand and sent it to the leader's throat. With a counterclockwise spin, he jammed the glass into the first man's side, hitting a vital point. He continued spinning and grabbed the man to his right and slammed his head into the table, smashing it through. "Remember." Naruto spoke to the waitress. "Don't move." He raised both his hands and began firing water bullets at each goon. Their bodies made a dark drum beat as they hit the ground with a certain rhythm. 15 in total, he had never taken his eyes off of the leader. Naruto sat back down to the table. "That glass is embedded deep in your neck," Naruto stated. "It's just barely away from any vital points, but it's also the only thing keeping you from bleeding to death," he assured. "Speak, you can." What do you want?" the man asked as he choked on his blood. "Where is Gato?" Naruto demanded. "I won't tell," he stated. "That wasn't a lucky shot, I missed on purpose," Naruto stated. "There are many other spots I can aim for that won't kill you, painful spots." He looked around at the dead bodies. "You've seen what I can do, want more?" The man paled as he shook his head. "Gato. West." He wheezed. "Few miles out often." Naruto stood up to leave. There was no reason to finish off the last guy, Shard was too far in to get out, he'll still bleed out. But being a ninja was about being thorough. He sent a water bullet through his head. "Ma'am?" Naruto called back. "You can move now." Naruto had returned to Tezuna's home. His clone had just dispelled and gave him all of the needed information. "Good," he thought. "Now I just need to wait until sunset. In the cover of darkness, that's where a shinobi truly shines." "Azuna-san." Naruto spoke. "By tomorrow, all of your troubles will be over with." "Haku." Zabuza spoke. He had been bedridden ever since his confrontation with Team 7. "I know." She spoke. He was making his way towards his target inside of a hut outside the village. It wasn't Gato. It was them. Naruto would have hidden behind a tree, but he knew that he had been found out. He had moved in the cover of darkness. He was silent. Very silent and nearly impossible to detect. But these were masters of the silent killing technique. You don't sneak up on them. He made his way to the open where he met the masked ninja, the false hunter Nin. "I'm here to speak to you and Zabuza." Naruto spoke. "I came with an offer." "We refuse." She spoke. "Leave. We're shinobi, we both know it's not that easy." Naruto spoke. He gave no warning as he fired several water bullets towards her. She only raised a hand and they stopped in place and fell to the ground as ice balls. She returned fire with a barrage of senbon needles that he dodged, aimed at his non-vital points. The best they would do is paralyze him in place. "She's not trying to kill me." He though only mildly surprised. "Puts us on even ground." For some reason, he still didn't want to kill her. He decided to backpedal at full speed, taking her deeper into the forest. She took the bait and followed. "Good," he thought. He led her to the woods, further from the hut. As soon as they got to the trees, several clones jumped out and fell upon her. She wasted no time in dispatching them each with a swift blow. "Clones won't work on me, neither will water," she stated. "What will you do now?" Naruto began weaving hand seals. Water style. Black rain jutsu. From the little moisture in the air, Naruto was able to form a light cloud above them. "Oil?" she questioned before freezing. Naruto drew an explosive tag attached kunai, which immediately fell from his hands. In several important nerves were senbon needles. "I take it from the tag that you don't know any fire jutsu," she stated. "Even if you did, they're useless now." Whatever reply she intended was cut short when he went up in smoke. "The clone?" she stated in surprise. "Why would his clone lead me, Zabuza-sama?" She ran back to the hut with all the speed she could muster. When Haku returned to the hut, the door opened, causing her to freeze in place. Out walked Naruto. Haku felt every ounce of her being jumped with panic. Her master Zabuza had been in there and he was still bedridden. Yet here was the enemy, walking away unharmed. She ran past Naruto, not sparing the blonde a second glance as he walked away. Not even noticing the fact he had her master's weapon strapped to his back. Haku had expected the worst inside of the hut, but she was not prepared for the sight before her. It was Zabuza, unharmed. "Zabuza-sama," she whispered. "What happened?" Only then did she realize the look of hate on his face. Flashback begin. Zabuza had watched as Haku made her way out to meet the enemy, he was confident in her skill. He trained her, as well as her bloodline, she was an excellent tool. He listened to the clash before they began making their way further into the distance. That was when he heard a single pair of footsteps approach. "Back already?" He was impressed. Whoever had appeared had skills to get so close before being noticed. When the hut opened, the pride fell. It was Naruto. The mere sight of the blonde caused the wound on Zabuza's torso, a scar, to throb in agony. It would be a shame for him to bear, the demon of the mist, scared by a child. Brat. He growled. Where's Haku? Dealing with some clones. Naruto answered as he walked inside. I came here to talk. Talk? Zabuza thought. What is he playing at? I'm listening. He had to play this out until Haku returned. I came to offer you the chance to give up being a rogue. Naruto spoke, all business. We requested you join Konoha. Are you serious? The rogue asked. Yes. Naruto answered. By sunrise this ordeal will be over. He explained. Your source of money, who probably would have betrayed you, will be dead. Why? Being offered sanctuary was not what he expected. You are a renowned shinobi with creditable skill. Naruto answered, stroking the rogue's ego. In Konoha, we can offer you a chance to finally stop running from Hunter Nin, should you accept. And your accomplice. Naruto added. Because of her bloodline, she would be hailed. He paused as he chose his next words. You don't have to worry, she will not become a breeding stock. Naruto gave the man a moment to mull it over. He made his way over to Zabuza's weapon. The Kubikirabacho. The decapitating carving knife. It was a renowned weapon, just as the other 7 blades were. Naruto marveled at it. The edge was sharp enough to cut through the human body, with the added force the weight provided. Not many would be able to properly wield such a weapon. He doubted he could, at least to its fullest capabilities. And if I refuse? Zabuza asked. In a flash, Naruto had the great sword hanging over Zabuza's head like a guillotine. His eyes cold and his voice matching as he answered. It would be in your best interest if you don't. He stated before activating his eyes to study him. Your body should be fully recovered in 2 days, we expect your answer by then. Naruto removed the sword and strapped it to his back. I'm taking this as insurance, you know where to find us with you answer. But that said, he left. Flashback end. That was why Zabuza was angry, he had been at someone's mercy. He was the demon of the bloody mist. He had been at the mercy of a mere child. The child had offered him sanctuary. In 2 days, he would have his answer. Naruto made his way towards the location he had been given by the villager. In the distance, he could see a large manor. Around and where several armed thugs, acting as guards. He activated his bloodline. He could see that they were a total of 30 of them surround the mansion completely. He could easily sneak in and do his job. None of the guards were shinobi or posed any real threat to him. They were even being lazy about their duty. But his bloodline showed him more. It allowed him to see the inner person. He didn't like what he saw. I still need to train on my emotions. He was still letting his emotions interfere. He began weaving seals. Shadow clone jutsu. He created an even amount to match the guards. But the skill, each of them found an unsuspecting target. A quick kunai to their throats and they were dead. Naruto made his way inside. There were no other guards, -1. A large and imposing man that stood in front of Gato's door. He went down with a single water bullet to the head. What was that? Gato asked after hearing the body fall. Answer me. Naruto opened the door. A proper shinobi wouldn't have made himself known, but the entire mission had been improper. Plus, there was one more thing he needed to take care of. Hello Gato. Naruto greeted. Who the hell are you? He demanded. Where are my guards? Naruto removed the weapon he had retrieved from Zabuza and showed it to the man. Now that he had saw the weapon, he had paled. Your men are dead. Naruto answered. What do you want? Gato asked. I can kill you just as easily as I killed all of your men. Naruto stated. But first, I need something from you. What? Money, every bit that you have. Naruto activated his bloodline, causing his eyes to turn red. I will know if you're lying or holding out on me. Gato nodded and made his way to the safe behind a picture of himself. Inside the safe was an enormous amount of cash and other valuables, such as gems and gold trinkets. That's everything. He swore. Naruto pulled out a sealing scroll and placed the money inside. When he was done, he left the tyrant 2 on his own. Gato fell into his chair and took a sigh of relief. He watched as the rain began falling though his window. Still alive. He thought triumphantly. He was upset about the money, but not enough to match his joy of life. The money he could replace, though not here. He would finish bleeding the place dry before heading somewhere to start anew. Why do I smell smoke? The rain had stopped, now there was a bright glow from outside. Naruto watched as the mansion burned to the ground with Gato inside. Mission accomplished. Now all that was left was Zabuza. Silently, Naruto made his way inside of Tezuna's home. Only for the light to come on. Have a nice night. Naruto froze at the scene before him. There stood Kakashi sensei, reading his book as if he had no care in the world. Next to him was Tsunami, with an impatient look on her face. Do you have any idea what time it is, young man? She asked. No. Naruto answered. No, what? No ma'am. He hastily answered. Kakashi laughed at the scene before him. His student was being talked down to by his client's daughter. Naruto could kill her with ease, yet the tone she was throwing at him put him off. It was anger covering genuine worry. You've never experienced a mother's scolding. He thought sadly. And you? She turned on the Jonin. What? Me? What kind of example are you setting for him? She asked. Reading smut all the time and in front of minors. Uh-oh. I have a good reason for being out. Naruto stated. I'll happily tell you as soon as you untie me. They had tied him to the kitchen chair. His team had been awakened for the meeting while Inari was left asleep. Tell us first, then we'll untie you. Kakashi stated as he continued reading. Okay, someone reach into my pants. He was silenced when a kunai passed him, cutting his binds. What the hell? I'm not reaching into your pants pocket. Naruto finished. Reach into my pants pocket. He did so himself and pulled out 3 scrolls. Oh. Kakashi I smiled. Sorry. Anyway, I've taken care of Gato. Naruto stated seriously. You mean Tsunami began tearing up as Naruto nodded. We're free. So does this mean we can go home? Sakura asked. No. Kakashi and Naruto answered. Why not? She whined. Gato's dead. We were hired to protect Azuna until the bridge was complete. Kakashi explained. What Naruto did was aid in the mission's success, but it's not over. What's in the scrolls dead last? Sasuke asked, only to be ignored. Naruto. Kakashi spoke, hoping to defuse the growing conflict. Emotion to the first one. In this scroll is Gato's and no, Wave's entire finance. Naruto stated moving to the second, he kept quite about the 10% he was keeping. In this one is our payment for the mission, as well as a small bonus for us. Why are they getting that money? Sakura screeched. It should go to us. Naruto ignored her. With this, you can fix some of the damage done by Gato. He stated, pushing the scroll to them. No one will trade with a poor village, so use it wisely. Thank you. Tazuna whispered. He looked at the last. In this one is Zabuza's sword. What? The entire group shouted. Naruto, I think you should start from the beginning. Kakashi ordered. Naruto told them the entire story. How he sent a clone to gather information, the goons he slaughtered. His scuffle with Haku and his talk with Zabuza, the offer. All the way to his ending Gato's reign. Well, you have had an interesting time. Tsunami spoke. You can't seriously be thinking of offering the Mist Ninja a place in Konoha. Sakura screeched. He is a capable shinobi. Naruto stated. He could be a great asset. Give me the sword. Sasuke ordered. No. Naruto stated, simple and direct. Sasuke lunged for it. I said give me th. He was frozen from the pressure of Naruto's finger to his temple. Sasuke-kun. Sakura screeched. You let him go now or I'll. She was silenced when he turned his eyes towards her. Stand down. Kakashi ordered. Naruto, what are you going to do with the weapon? I'm taking it back to Konoha. Naruto stated before explaining. If a suitable wielder can't be found, it will sold to the Hidden Mist village. And if Mamachi does come with us, I will return it to him. Naruto answered. If we're lucky, he will train someone to use it. Just give it to Sasuke-kun. Sakura ordered. If he can't use it, no one can. No. Is there anything else? Kakashi asked. No. Then in 2 days we leave. It had been a long 2 days, but today was the day. His team had managed to complete their training and their sensei made a full recovery. Today the bridge would be complete and they would have their answer. That was why they were waiting on the bridge. Do you think he'll accept? Sakura asked out loud. No one answered. He's here. Naruto stated. Just as he said those words, a fog began covering the bridge. With a flare of wind chakra, Naruto blew the mist away revealing Zabuza and his accomplice. Your answer? Kakashi asked. The demon of the mist looked over the group in front of him before giving his answer. No. What? Why? Sakura asked loudly. You should be happy, Konoha is offering you a chance to work for the best village. It's pride. Naruto stated. With nothing more to say, they missed and lunged. Kakashi and Naruto went to meet the enemy, just as planned. Zabuza pulled back into his mist, just as expected. Kakashi went to face him. Haku didn't follow, she made her own way in the mist. She would be Naruto's opponent. Just as planned. Naruto thought. The mist duo still knew nothing of Naruto's bloodline, while he had done nothing but gather intel on them. Now in the mist, Naruto could use his bloodline to its fullest. Where is he? Haku thought. She was trained in the art of silent killing, but she was no master of it, not like Zabuza. Her opponent seemed to be a master of stealth, as if he had been hiding from danger his whole life. Naruto was staying completely still, watching her scan the mist. Now. He thought. In the mist, Haku could barely make out a presence. It wasn't that far from her, but she could barely see who it was. It's him. She thought sure. She threw a handful of senbon, not bothering to aim. They met their mark, only for the apparition to fade. It was one of the abilities Naruto had possessed, the irresistible genjutsu his father mentioned. He was able to make these genjutsu constructs that people thought were real. As long as they were untouched and not looked upon directly, they could pass as regular people. I missed. she thought confused. I know I got him. Her danger sensor, honed from experience, went off. There was someone behind her, the enemy. She turned and delivered what would have been a strong kick had the apparition not faded on contact. The excess weight threw her off balance. This gave Naruto an opportune moment. He would have to act now, he may never get another chance like this. He lunged at her while she was still off balance from her attack. Her danger sensors went off again as she tried to straighten herself. She tried to throw a sloppy punch behind herself, only for it to hit another apparition. She felt a tap on her back. It lasted half a second before she kicked him away. Got him. This time she had him. They made a bit of distance between each other before they took notice of their surroundings. The mist was fading. Zabuza-sama. Haku cried out. Naruto followed her gaze to see their partners match. It seemed that their fight was also coming to an end. Kakashi had Zabuza trapped inside the jaws of his familiar, restraining his movement. In his hand was concentrated lighting chakra, visible from the sheer power. Haku ran towards her master, only to freeze. Her body was no longer hers to command. What is this? She thought frantically as she tried to struggle. It's a paralysis seal. Naruto stated. Right now you can't move or even speak. Naruto turned to the fight. Zabuza Mamachi. Naruto called, gaining both Jonin's attention. This fight is over, your partner is finished, give up. He stated. Come with us to Konoha, our final offer. You brat. Zabuza growled. I won't surrender because my tool is broken. Duel? Naruto asked before sighing. Zabuza, you are a proud shinobi. He stated. Pride has no use on the battlefield of shinobi, it only leads to death. He nodded to his sensei, signaling the end. Naruto had the decency to cover Haku's sight. She didn't need to see those final moments. Team 7 and Haku were making their trek to the Hidden Leaf village. It was strange to say the least. I still say we should kill her. Sasuke repeats. No. Kakashi and Naruto stated, again. Why not? Sakura asked. She's the enemy. Zabuza was the enemy. Kakashi stated. Haku isn't even a registered shinobi, just someone caught in it all. Why are we bringing her with us? Sakura asked again. She will be a great asset to the village. Naruto stated. Then we should bind her. Sasuke states. No. Naruto states. She is neither our prisoner nor our slave, she's coming with us of her own free will. He explains. She won't go anywhere and she won't try anything with Kakashi around. How do you know? Sasuke asks with a sneer. Because. Naruto smiles at his team. She wants to kill me. Return. Team 7 had finally returned to Konoha. I can't wait to get home. Sakura spoke. I'm going to cash my payment and have a big fancy dinner. She turned to the Uchiha. Want to join me? No. Sasuke answered. You aren't going anywhere. Kakashi declared. We had a hell of a mission, we need to report to the Hokage. This earned a collective sigh from the group. Hiruzen eyed the team before him. He could already feel a massive headache beginning to grow, as well as paperwork piles. So you went on a mission to guard a bridge builder. He started. Faced an A-rank ninja and ended up freeing an entire nation from a tyrant. He looked at the blonde. Then got a bridge named after you. He looked over the reports. Did I miss anything? Yes. Naruto spoke. Haku. The Hokage turned his attention to the young Kunoichi. It says that you have no village affiliation. He spoke. Is that true? Yes, Hokage-sama. Haku began. I was born in Mist, but the bloodline purge forced me to leave with Zabuza-sama. I see. He mumbled. Well, if wish, we could use your talents here. He looked over the reports. It says that you're quite skilled. I don't think I would have been able to beat her on my own. Naruto admitted. What do you plan to do? Hiruzen asked. The choice is yours. I wish to join the village. She answered as glanced at Naruto. Well, you are an unusual case, with your background I mean. The elder admitted. I will take this up with the council. If they agree to it, then we can have you enlisted after a small probation period. Thank you Hokage-sama. She bowed. Naruto strolled through the village, ignoring the glares, with a small smile on his face. It only grew larger when a pair of small hands covered his eyes. What are you so happy about? A voice asked from behind him. Oh, I'm just on my way to see a certain someone. He answered. Is it a girl? Yep. Pretty. Beautiful. Blonde. How'd you guess? Naruto asked, feigning shock. Well, I see a girl like her every day and she's amazing. Oh, and where do you see her? Naruto asked with curiosity. In the mirror, duh. Well, since only one girl fits all of those amazing qualities, you must be Ino. With their mock game of 20 questions over, Naruto turned to meet Ino's gaze. This me? He asked. Believe it. She stated. I will pay you to not say that again. He stated as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh, and what will you pay me in? She asked as she leaned in. Remember, I'm not cheap. I will pay you in kisses. He answered as he leaned to meet her. Their little game was cut short when Naruto felt a pair of arms lightly slide around his shoulders and grab his chest. On instinct, Naruto jumped from the grasp to see Haku. "And who's your friend Naruto-kun?" Haku asked. Then Naruto Ino began in shock. "Who the hell is she?" "I asked first." Haku stated. "I'm his girlfriend," she declared. "Now, who are you?" "This is Haku." Naruto answered. "We met on the mission in Wave Country." "Why was she grabbing onto you?" Ino asked, ignoring Haku. "It's not what you think," he tried to assure. "She and I are." "So you do have some kind of relationship," Ino declared. "Oh, do we?" Haku smirked. "Shut up," Naruto yelled in anger. "Naruto, you jerk," Ino shouted as she ran off. "Ino," he yelled as he attempted to run after her. He stopped when she kept on and refused to look back. He turned his attention to Haku. "Haku," he began calmly, too calmly. "I know you want to kill me and you're welcome to try," he stated. "But if you ever try to get to me through the few people I care about." She froze under his glare. His eyes were red. It wasn't the bloodline red that she saw. That was a pale red that only replaced the blue and gazed his eyes an empty look. This one was a darker shade of red with a fox-like iris in the middle. There was no hollow emptiness in them. They were filled with raw hate. "I'll break you." With that, he was gone. Naruto was blowing off some steam on the team training ground. He was disappointed in himself again. Not only for his lack of control, but also for his lack of mercy. If he had killed her when he had the chance, he wouldn't be dealing with this. Is it too late? Maybe he could. "I need to control myself," he mentally stated. His thoughts were heading to dark corners, a bad thing for a shinobi. That was when his danger senses went off. He turned around with his kunai in hand, intending to maim, only for it to be blocked. It was a root shinobi. "Better," Danzo stated from the side. "You're making progress." He motioned to the root. "He's one of my best in stealth." "Thank you," Naruto spoke. "Not like you to make checkups though." "The girl, Haku," he began. "I read the reports, what do you plan to do with her?" "She could be enlisted in Konoha ranks, she's more than qualified," Naruto began. "Though I must warn you that she has a vendetta against me." Naruto began retelling the events of the mission. "Interesting," Danzo stated. "What are you planning?" Naruto asked. "Think she'd make an excellent root." "She would, but no," Danzo stated. "Her bloodline would draw too much attention. Plus her vendetta makes her unstable, are you sure it was wise to bring her?" "Not after that stunt she played," Naruto thought to himself. "Yes. Very well." Danzo spoke as he turned to leave but stopped. "You will be summoned for a council meeting about the mission, so prepare yourself." "Understood." "Is there anything else?" Naruto asked. "That Yamanaka girl." Danzo spoke. "You like her?" At this, Naruto began to blush harder than ever. "I might," Naruto stated as he scratched his cheek. "Then go after her," Danzo ordered. "Aren't you against emotions in shinobi?" Naruto asked suspiciously. "In most, but you're a different case," he stated. "You are a host, meaning your emotions are tied to your tailed beast. We can't have you in an emotional strain." He pointed his cane at the blonde. "You're also a teenager, meaning you have little control over yourself, even as a shinobi. So what should I do?" Naruto asked. "You're not on a mission, so feel," Danzo stated. "Otherwise, you might become a threat." The elderly man made his exit with that statement. After a while, Naruto had finished his training and preparations. In the end, they were all distractions, he had bigger things to take care of. That was why he was standing in front of the Yamanaka clan compound. "You can do this, Naruto," he spoke to himself. "You fought rogue ninjas and just freed an entire country, you can do this." "Hey, who's out there?" a voice asked from an upper window. Our blonde didn't answer, he just ran. He had no idea as to what he should be doing. Screw this. Naruto decided to do this the ninja way. As soon as the sun set, he had made his way back to the clan compound. Using his bloodline, he found Ino's chakra. In the upper part of the compound with a window near a large tree. She was alone. Good. He thought. Makes this easier. He decided to climb with his hands instead of chakra, he didn't want to alert anyone. It wasn't difficult thanks to his ninja training, too easy. Shouldn't a ninja clan make their home more difficult to focus? He couldn't afford to be distracted. He made his way to the window and saw her inside. She was sitting on a stool brushing her hair in front of a vanity mirror. Naruto silently opened the window, slowly so it didn't make any noise. "Ino?" he began. Ino had thrown her hairbrush at Naruto, catching him by surprise, but he managed to catch it. When he turned back to her, she was holding her stool like a weapon. "Naruto, what the hell are you doing here?" she asked angrily. "I came to apologize about Haku," he stated as he placed the brush down. "She's been practicing." "HMPH, why would I care about her?" Ino asked as she turned her head up. "It's not like we're a couple or anything." "What? We went on 2 dates in one day," Ino stated as she sat down to her mirror. "It doesn't really make us official." Naruto was at a loss. What she said was true, there was nothing official between them, they had literally been together for 2 days before he went to Wave. What should I do? He really liked her and wanted to be with her. He could throw a tantrum and fight for her. No, that wasn't him anymore. It was her choice, he wouldn't force himself on her, he wouldn't be a sad fanboy like with Sakura. There is nothing between Haku and me, except hate. Naruto stated. She just wants to hurt me. Ino didn't turn around. Goodbye Ino. Was all he said before jumping out the window. Ino watched him leave from the reflection of her mirror. Naruto. She mumbled, too low for him to hear. Naruto landed with a thud, no longer trying to hide himself. His mind was in turmoil, his girlfriend had basically broke up with him. All because of a stunt pulled by Haku. Control yourself. He ordered. The Danzo's words echoed in his head. Than most, but you're a different case. He stated. You are a host, meaning your emotions are tied to your tailed beast. We can't have you in an emotional strain. He pointed his cane at the blonde. You're also a teenager, meaning you have little control over yourself, even as a shinobi. So what should I do? Naruto asked. You're not on a mission, so feel. Danzo stated. Otherwise, you might become a threat. Fine. He thought. He let his anger out. He punched the tree that led to Ino's room. Half of it shattered into splinters under his force. The other half toppled over from not being able to support itself. It fell into the ground with a loud crash, missing the home by inches. He looked at the damage he had done, his hand was already healing. That felt good. He decided to go and blow off some more steam. He made his way to the nearest training ground, fortunately it was empty. Hey, what are you doing here? Or so he thought. He turned to see a girl about a year or two older than him. She wore a Chinese top with green pants, a practical outfit. I'm just here to blow off some steam. Naruto answered. And you? This is my team's training ground. She answered. I apologize, I'll be leaving. Naruto stated as he walked away. Wait, no need to leave. She spoke. I could use a sparring partner if you're up to it. Naruto thought about it, he did come to blow off some steam. No thanks, don't want to hurt you. He mumbled. He was shocked when a kunai flew by his cheek, giving him a shallow cut, drawing a trickle of blood. Do you think I'm weak? She asked angrily. Is it because I'm a female? Gender has nothing to do with strength. Naruto stated. Then you're just arrogant. I came to blow off steam, I don't want to lose control. He explained, hoping to reason with her. Then you're the one who should be worried. She stated with a smirk. A shinobi who doesn't have his head on straight in battle will only be a hindrance to himself and team. It's nice to see a kunoichi that's taking this seriously. Naruto stated. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I'm TenTen, just TenTen. She stated. About that spar. Fine. It was his intention after all. Naruto saw her back up and pull out a scroll, from it she summoned a katana. There were other seals for holding more objects, as well as another scroll on her hip. The weapon specialist. Naruto guessed. Yep, all sorts of bad boys in here. She stated as she raised the scroll. But this sword will be enough to beat you. Confident? Naruto smirked. He drew his WC blade. Oh miss that the white chakra blade, she squealed. Where did you get that? Naruto was taken back by her sudden change. Gone was the kunoichi, replaced by a fangirl. It was a gift from my sensei. He answered. Let's see how good you are. She spoke. They charged each other, weapons out. Their blades met when they collided and held a small power struggle before backing away. TenTen swung for a blow that would have done a lot of damage had Naruto not grabbed her by the arm. It didn't stop her, she gave a high kick to the face that forced him back. She swung for his head diagonally, which he ducked. With her wide open, he slammed the butt of his weapon into her stomach. He moved in for another attack, but she jumped back. She pulled out another scroll. What happened to beating me with the sword? Naruto asked. It seems you're too good at close range. She stated. Only a fool would push on if outmatched, even in a spar. You think you're outmatched by a few blows? Naruto asked. How would she know that? You're not familiar with weapon combat, are you? She asked. No, I don't have many decent training buddies. He admitted. Care to fix that? Sure. She smiled. Would be nice to have a weapon buddy. While they had been talking, TenTen had been unraveling a scroll. Undone, she jumped high into the air and aimed the seal towards Naruto. It fired several kunai and shurikens in a rapid barrage. Naruto threw a few shuriken of his own and began sealing. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. The jutsu multiplied his weapons enough to match hers. Each clashing and knocking the other out of the way. When it was over, there was nothing but a field of metal. Where is he? She asked herself. She had taken her eyes off of him for a fraction of a second, bad move in the shinobi world. TenTen felt a finger on the back of her head. I win. Naruto states. What do you have? He fired at the ground by her foot, silencing her. You win. Ten-chan. He spoke, gaining a blush. Would you like to have dinner with me? He asked. I'm told I'm a good cook. Naruto was currently training the K-Core. Unlike most children who would graduate with dreams of the ninja world, he wanted to make sure that they were ready for the truth. That meant they needed to be strong and smart, so he showed little restraint. He gave just enough to show them what they were in for, but held back just enough so there wouldn't do any long-lasting damage. A bruise here and a cut there with lots and lots of killing intent. Still want to be ninja? Naruto asked again. Yes. They answered as one. He asked that question several times before, during and after each training session. They answered the same each time, showing their dedication. Uzumaki. A voice called. Naruto turned to see an Anbu and smiled. It was Kat. He didn't get to see her often since their mission together. Hello, what can I do for you? Naruto asked. You are needed for your meeting with the council. She states. Did the council ask or demand for me? Naruto asked annoyed. Well, she trailed off. I only follow the demand of my superior officer and Hokage. Naruto stated. Tell them that. He heard a faint giggle come from behind her mask. You're going to send them into a fit. She left in a body flicker. We'll cut this short. Naruto stated to the K-Core. I need to prepare. By prepare, he needed to get ready for the upcoming headache. He had sent the K-Core off to relax after their training. Now he was alone in the training ground, meditating. Uzumaki. A shinobi called, not an Anbu, another sent by the council. The council demands your presence. I know, I'm waiting for the Hokage. Naruto spoke. They ordered me to use force if needed. He spoke. You're a shinobi, you don't need to do as they say. Naruto offered. He didn't listen, he just drew his sword and took a stance. Just as he was about to make a move, Kat arrived in a body flicker. Uzumaki, Hokage-sama has give the hate. She spoke before looking between the two. What's going on? Has the old man given the okay? Naruto asked and received a nod. Then I'll be on my way. He left the couple to their own devices. Naruto entered the council meeting with complete calmness, something told him that he wouldn't leave the same way. He looked at the people who were present. The Hokage. The Shinobi Council, comprised of all the village's main clan heads. The Elder, the Hokage's advisors and former teammates. The Civilian Council, made up of merchants and businessmen. Lastly, Haku. Greetings Hokage-sama, Danzo-san and honorable clan heads. The blonde greeted. After a pause, one of the Civilian Council members coughed. Is something wrong? Do you know why you were called here today? Danzo asked. I can assume. Naruto answered. 2 days ago, you returned from an C-A rank mission. The Hokage spoke. You returned with Haku, apprentice of Zabuza Mamachi. An A-rank missing nin and an adversary on your mission. Correct. Why did you bring back this girl? A female clan head spoke. She must be Kiba's mom. Naruto thought as he saw the markings. I thought that she would be a great asset to the village. Naruto answered. I attempted to bring back Mamachi as well, but he refused and died in battle. How would she assist the village? The woman asked firmly and coldly. She is a skilled fighter and has shown to have some medical knowledge. Naruto explained. Along with the training I'm sure she was given by Zabuza. That's all? A civilian asked. Naruto sighed. Should she decide to take on a lover and bear a child, she could pass on a bloodline. What do you mean should? A civilian asked. Hokage-sama has already agreed to allow her to join the village. Naruto answered. She is now a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf village. So? Unlike men, women can't bear multiple children with multiple spouses. Naruto explained. But she can still breed. The man stated. This is getting us nowhere. Naruto mentally sighed. He was sure the man just wanted to cause him a headache. Let's try this from a different route. She has taken interest in the Uchiha. Naruto stated randomly. Oh, well never mind. The civilian stated. The Uchiha is a good choice. Adya. The blonde thought. I lied, she has shown no interest in anyone to my knowledge. Naruto informed. Tell me, why would her being with the Uchiha make any difference? All eyes were on the councilman and awaiting an answer. Well, he was at a loss. The CRA is made so that men could save a dying clan or increase chances of producing a child with a bloodline. Sum informed. Would you force the same on a man? As if a man would turn down a harem. A councilman joked. I would. Naruto stated. As if you could get a date. Someone sneered. You would have to pay the ugliest and cheapest whore too. I'll have you know that he dated my daughter. Inoichi informed angrily. Care to repeat that again? You let your daughter near him? Yes, is there something wrong with him? Inoichi asked calmly. There's still the matters of Zabuza's weapon. Another civilian spoke. What shall we do with it? If I may? Naruto spoke to the Hokage. I request that it be given to Haku. What? It should be given to a capable jounin. Someone shouted. Or at least the Uchiha. A weapon like that can't be used to its fullest by the jounin here. Danzo stated. We don't have anyone able to use such a large weapon as adequately as they could their usual sword. They could learn. A waste of time and potential skill. Danzo stated. Haku here appears to already have knowledge on the correct use of such a weapon. None of the civilians could refute the sound statement and the shinobi wouldn't try. The reason they even made it was because Naruto wanted to give it to Haku, no other reason. If that is all. The third spoke as he prepared to end the meeting. Then you all are. Naruto was relieved, that hadn't been half as painful as he feared. Maybe he could actually get out of here. 1 second Hokage-sama. A civilian spoke. There are a few more matters to discuss. No, it was never allowed to be that easy. There have been several complaints of assault from him during the mission. Another civilian spoke as he pointed to Naruto. Care to explain yourself? No, I do not. Naruto answered as he turned to leave. Don't you walk away from us, boy. Someone shouted. Naruto continued on. Naruto. The third spoke. Naruto stopped and turned towards the village leader. Yes, Hokage-sama. Naruto asked. Please be seated so we can solve this, otherwise they won't relent. He begged. I don't want complaints from them again. Yes, sir. Such disrespect. I see no disrespect. Hiruzen spoke. He disobeyed. He follows my command, not yours. The Hokage spoke coldly. Don't forget that. Oh, of course. Naruto didn't hide his smirk or smile of appreciation. During the mission to Wave, both the Uchiha and Haruno disobeyed my orders after Kakashi-sensei left me in charge before he collapsed of chakra depletion. Naruto informed. The Uchiha showed recklessness and arrogance, while Haruno listens to him like a lost puppy and makes no effort to improve her own skills. So you found the need to attack them? Someone asked. I found the need to punish and discipline them. Naruto corrected. They were lucky that it was all I did to them. What do you mean? I could have, on several occasions, executed both of them during the mission. He informed. They were insubordinate and a danger to the mission. He is correct. Hiruzen stated before glaring at the civilians. And there would have been no repercussions. The Shinobi Council nodded in agreement, but he's the last Uchiha. Someone declared. We can't let his bloodline end. Is that why you had our sensei focus on him instead of all of his students? Naruto asked. Leaving his others to fend for themselves. We needed the Uchiha to be stronger so that he could kill his brother. Someone stated. And then what? Naruto asked. You thought he'd move on? That he'd be grateful for all your ass kissing, that he'd marry your daughters and make your clans great? But none of them said anything. He knew he was right. Why not read him? Haku asked. She has a point. Naruto stated. He's a guy, so you can have him breed with as many women as you want. We the council will decide what to do with him. Someone declared. Not some demon, too late. He tried covering his mouth. Naruto stood up and made his way towards the civilian who spoke. He said nothing as he closed the gap between them with slow but deliberate steps. There was no mistaking his intentions. You broke the third Hokage's law. Naruto stated. Punishment death. Why you can't hurt me? The man declared. I'm a part of the council, I'm in charge. Do you feel in charge? Naruto asked as he raised his hand. Why you're just a genin. He stated with growing fear. I'm a part of the council. And you think this gives you power over me? He never gave the man a chance to answer. Naruto simply placed a finger onto his head and fired. You don't normally take that long to make a kill, Naruto. Danzo stated. Usually they don't even know T's about to happen. I was making a statement. Naruto informed as he eyed the council. No one is above the law. Why you killed him? Someone stated in shock. Yes, I did. Naruto answered calmly. I'm a shinobi, it's what I do. It's what you send your children to the academy to learn to do. He noticed many of them pale. But what? Naruto asked. You thought your kids wouldn't have to? When you send your children to the academy, it's so that they can learn to serve the village to the fullest. Danzo stated. If need be, to commit mass murder or suicide. If your daughters are lucky, and I mean really lucky, they'll be able to give their virginity to someone they like instead of someone they need to gather intel on. Many of you think that your children would make your family equal to one of the shinobi clans or better, right? A shinobi clan head asked. Probably thinking they'll be one of the new Sanin or a famous village hero. The shinobi world isn't like that. Another spoke. We send our families out to die. Someone shouted. Or we go out and get killed and leave behind widows and orphans, not even knowing what kind of parents they had. Naruto watched the civilians crumble under the relentless shinobi council with bittersweet feelings. It seemed that the clan heads were aware of their duty and trying to beat it into the civilians. He doubted it'd do any good. Though he enjoyed watching it immensely. Naruto. The Nara head spoke. This caught the attention of most since the Nara was usually half asleep during these meetings. Yes. You said that your sensei spent most of his time training the Uchiha, correct? He asked. Crap, leave it to a Nara. Naruto thought in frustration to his error. Yes, I did. Then where did you get the skills you acquired? The Nara asked. There was a moment of silence as Naruto considered his answer. He didn't want to make the same mistake. Information was a powerful weapon. Then an idea struck him, one that could benefit him. He asked you a question. Someone shouted. That's classified. Danzo spoke up. Actually Danzo-sama, that brings up another topic. Naruto spoke as he turned to his village leader. My heritage. Naruto. The third spoke in a warning tone. The chunin exams are coming up in a few months. Naruto continued. Hosted here. What of it? More than likely Team 7 will be participating in it. Naruto answered. I know you all can't wait to show off the last Uchiha's power. He spoke mockingly. When you do, that is enough Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen spoke with the power of a cage. Naruto simply gave him a blank stare before bowing. Yes, Hokage-sama. He had done what he wanted, he made the council curious. People like them wouldn't stand for curiosity if they could help it and they'd do their best to find answers. This meeting is over. The leader spoke as he left. Dismissed. Naruto had made it only 2 steps from the council room before Danzo stopped him. You're playing a dangerous game. He warned. He's called the professor for a reason. Let him play his game. A new voice spoke. The outcome will be the same. He turned to see Haku, sword in possession. What do you want? Naruto asked. I wanted to thank you for returning Zabuza's sword to me. She answered. But also to warn you that I haven't forgiven you. I understand. He answered. We'll have that final fight one day. With nothing more to say, Naruto left. He had only one thing on his mind. Ramen. He moaned as he inhaled the savory scent, letting it fill his nostrils and draw him in. He raised the chopsticks, holding the perfect amount with great balance. At last. It was so close. Naruto turned to see Sasuke and Ino. Hello Ino, what are you up to? We're on a date, jealous. Sasuke asked. No. Naruto answered. This wasn't the reaction the two desired, but it didn't mean they would give up just yet. I have to thank you actually. Ino spoke. Ever since I got off that diet, I've been developing properly. To prove her point, she took a pose. A lady with a snake wrapped around her stopped by her. If you got it, flaunt it. She declared as she took off her trench coat, revealing fishnets underneath, and strutted away. Glad I didn't wear a bra. Stop trying to act cool you idiot. Sasuke ordered. I'm with your woman. You can't tell me you aren't jealous. Ino was never my woman, she's always been her own. Naruto answered. Besides, I'm single. What about that black-haired hussy? Ino asked as she turned her nose up. Haku and I were never together. Naruto answered. In fact, she wants to kill me. This info struck Ino hard. She knew Naruto was many things and that, outside of work, he was no liar. If he said something was so, it was more than likely true. Shit. She thought. Enjoy your date. Naruto stated as he walked away. She wanted to reach out after him and see if it was true, but she couldn't make herself. Sasuke just pulled her away towards their date. I can't believe that he wasn't jealous. Sasuke grumbled before glaring at Ino. Why didn't you tell me you two were separated? I thought you knew when he brought Haku back. Ino answered lowly. That bitch. He grumbled. She won't take his head, that's mine, then hers, then him. So it was true. Ino thought. I've screwed up. Yes Ino. You did. Well let's enjoy our date Sasuke-kun. She whispered. HN. Sasuke had taken Ino to a very expensive restaurant where they had the best cuisines. It smells wonderful. She thought as she inhaled deeply. Almost as good as end stop. You're on a date with Sasuke-kun. So Sasuke-kun. She began. How have you been since graduation? HN. How's your sensei? She asked. Ours is a bit lazy, but he's smart. HN. That was all Ino got in the form of stimulating conversation. It seemed the Uchiha wasn't one for words. Usually Naruto would. Your food has arrived. The waiter spoke. Ino looked at the food and felt her stomach rumble, she didn't even notice what the Uchiha decided to eat. It was a large bowl of detox ramen, a bowl-made ramen mixed with mostly its vegetable ingredients. A healthy bowl of ramen. That'll show Naruto I can eat ramen and still diet. She thought defiantly. She took a large amount in her chopstick and swallowed it whole. It was amazing, she got the taste of ramen Naruto loved and didn't risk her figure. That'll show Whiskers what he's missing. She thought. As she ate, she noticed something odd. Food began to grow saltier by the scoop. She looked down and saw that some clear liquid was dripping inside her food. That's disgusting. She thought the place was leaking. Should I sue? What's wrong with you? Sasuke asked. Ino was confused at the Uchiha's question, she was fine. She rubbed her face to see if something was wrong. It wasn't. Tears. She was crying. I didn't know. She answered. Well stop it. He demanded. You're getting that date you always wanted, be happy. I can't believe I'm wasting time on her. He thought. Sorry Sasuke-kuku she couldn't bring herself to add the honorific as she dried her eyes. She silently ate the ramen but couldn't force it down. The food had become bitter to her tongue, even the smell made her want to gag. Naruto wouldn't tell me to stop. She thought. He'd make me laugh instead. Here she was, eating at a fancy restaurant with a boy she had a crush on in the academy. Yet she could only think of Naruto. I'm sorry. She mumbled. What? Sasuke asked. This isn't working. She spoke up. Ino stood up to leave but was stopped by Sasuke grabbing her arm. Where do you think you're going? He snapped. First you chase me through academy. Then you hang with the dead last and suddenly you're done. He yelled. I wasted my time on this date and you think you can leave. You're hurting my arm. She stated as she tried pulling away. Too bad. Let her go. A voice calmly demanded. Sasuke turned to see who would dare to demand of him. Of course. He thought bitterly. It was Naruto. Naruto-kun. Ino cried happily. What are you doing here? Sasuke asked smugly. Came back for Ino. I was running for my life when I come across this. He motioned to the failed date. Well, they sat there. He pointed to the customers who ignored everything. So if they won't help, guess I will. She doesn't want your help. Sasuke stated. She's enjoying the date she always wanted. Really? Naruto asked with a roll of his eyes. Ino, are you enjoying your date? She shook her head while whispering. No. Would you like me to take you home? Naruto asked. Yes. She spoke louder while nodding. She made to move towards her fellow blonde only to be stopped by Sasuke. She's not going anywhere. He stated. Ino was getting scared. The Uchiha was showing his true nature and no one seemed to care. On one hand, Naruto seemed to be going out of his way to help even if they aren't together. Naruto's eyes began to turn a pale red as he activated his bloodline. He didn't need to lock eyes with Sasuke for this next part. The Uchiha felt his alarms go off, telling him that an enemy was behind him. Yet Naruto was in front of him. The clone. He thought as he swung his hand backwards. He connected with nothing but the open air. He turned back just in time to see Naruto's fist. Ino looked at the fallen Uchiha in disgust. Shamefully, she raised her head to look at Naruto. He looked back at her as if he was looking at an everyday friend, no annoyance or expectations from her. Ready to go home? He asked. She didn't know what to say. I'm sorry. It's okay. He smiled. She looked up in shock, he had just forgiven her, just like that. Just like that. Well, if he was vindictive, he'd be more like Sasuke team. She thought. So, no Haku? No Haku. He answered. Ino walked through the village on Naruto's arm in complete happiness. He had forgiven her for her foolishness without any form of backlash. Hey Naruto-kun, how come you showed up at the right place at the right time? Ino asked with a smug smile. Were you spying on me? Nope. He answered. Running for my life. What? Let's see, he began. She should be. He ducked, pulling Ino down in the process to avoid a kunai. They followed the path it came from to see an angry bun-haired TenTen. You. A voice filled with anger shouted. Your cooking made me gain weight. And who is she? Ino asked with her hand on her hip. Cooking for other women. Oh boy. Naruto thought. Chunin exams. Naruto was in a good mood. He was in an official relationship with Ino. His was getting stronger with his training. His unofficial students were getting stronger as well under his watch and fist. But there was the bad as well. Baka. Dope. His sensei had called a team meeting with them and as usual, he was late. Naruto did his best to drown out the others, but training could only do so much. Hello team. Kakashi greeted. You're late. I passed a black cat, so I had to backtrack around the village. He stated with an eye smile. I have good news, I recommended you three for the Chunin exams. Sasuke and Sakura gained looks of excitement, the chance of promotion will do that to you. Are you insane? Naruto asked. Something wrong? Their sensei asked. He's just scared. We'll get killed out there. Naruto stated. Sure, Sasuke has a little skill, but not enough to face the best of the other villages. And Sakura has no skill. I believe your teamwork will. You want us to participate in these exams with our level of teamwork? Naruto asked, cutting Kakashi off. Sakura would spend her time fawning over the Uchiha, thinking he will rescue her. In all honesty, he'd more than likely use us as a meat shield. But like Kakashi had nothing to refute that logic. Sasuke snatched the waivers from the Jounin's hand. I'll show you that I can beat these exams without you dope. Sasuke stated. I can beat those weakling from those other villages, just watch. Yeah. Sakura followed his example. If Sasuke's entering, then so am I. There was only one waiver left, so Naruto took it. The choice is yours, Naruto. Kakashi stated. You don't have to enter. Naruto was meditating in the training ground, trying to decide on whether or not he should enter the exams. On one hand, if they enter and fail, it could end up in a death sentence against one of the foreign enemies. On the other, if he managed to pass all the exams, he wouldn't have to deal with the Uchiha and his pet. Decisions. Decisions. Raymond will help me think. He muttered. Boss, boss. A panicked voice called. Naruto turned to see Konohamaru and Yuden running towards him. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Mogi, some creep kidnapped her. Yuden answered. Naruto thought this one over. He had trained the K-Core to be at a decent level himself. Whoever had kidnapped Mogi obviously wasn't a civilian. Where are they? Naruto asked. Right here. A voice called from behind. Naruto and the remaining K-Corps turned to see Mogi in the hands of some stranger, a kunai at her neck. He was wearing a tattered cloak, hiding both his identity and headband, if he wore one. Naruto tried to activate his bloodline to see who was under the cloak, but couldn't. His eyes told him that no one was there. It wasn't a genjutsu, poison and drugs don't work on him, so he wasn't hallucinating. He just couldn't make heads or tails of it. Was it a bloodline? What do you want? Naruto asked. To keep you weaklings out of the exams. He answered. There's no place for someone like you. So he knows me. Naruto thought. Either a villager who doesn't want me to enter or someone paid to do this. It didn't matter in the end, he was the enemy and Mogi was his hostage. Earth style. Earth swim jutsu. Naruto dived into the ground before everyone's eyes. While the K-Corps were impressed, the enemy became a little worried. Come out or I kill this brat. The enemy shouts. Naruto did, he came out of the tree, literally, that the enemy was in. Smacking the kunai from his hand, he continued to reach out until his arms was around Mogi. With his free hand, he balanced off the enemy's foot, keeping his in place. While upside down, he delivered a mule-like kick into the enemy's chest, causing a few ribs to break. While the enemy fell, Naruto jumped to the ground with a safe Mogi. That was so cool, boss. The K-Corps praised. Naruto didn't acknowledge him, he kept his eyes on the enemy. This isn't over. He shouts as he attempts to stand. Tell me who you are. Naruto ordered as he pointed a single finger at the enemy. What, do you have loaded fingers? The enemy mocked. Naruto didn't answer, he just lowered his finger and held it at the enemy's feet. The stranger followed his finger until he saw it, an explosive tag. He had no chance at removing it as it went off. You're safe now. Naruto told the K-Corps. He then heard it, clapping. It wasn't the mocking clap you always hear the bad guys make that signal trouble. It was a congratulatory clap. Naruto turned to see who it was, weapon ready and waiting. From the smock walked the enemy with his cloak in tatters. He pulled off the last piece to reveal Iruka. Sensei? Naruto asked in shock. By my Naruto, you have grown strong. He smiled. Naruto's eyes snapped open in which were the words. Shock. Excitement. Whatever it was heavy. But not enough to keep a smile off of his face. That's Iruka-sensei for you. Naruto thought. Always teaching, even in death. 5 minutes later and 6 bowls fuller, Naruto was still undecided. Rocks aren't square. Naruto shouted as he turned to see the K-Corps hiding. Get out of there. We knew you'd see through our disguise. Konohamaru stated with a smile. That was a poor disguise. He thought. What do you three want? You promised you'd play ninja with us today. A ninja playing ninja, you really are pathetic. Naruto didn't even acknowledge Sakura. He was about to blow them off when a thought hit him. You know what, I will. Really? Yeah, your hiding skills were so poor it's embarrassing. He stated, making them feel bad. So let's fix that. The idea of training brought them back. How? Of Pinky here. Naruto answered pointing to Sakura. Her skills are so poor that you should be able to hide from her, but she's not dumb enough to fall for square boxes. What? She asked in outrage. What makes you think I'll help these brats? Hey Naruto, is this your? Konohamaru ended the question by extending his pinky. As if I'd go out with that idiot. She answered before he could. I only want Sasu-kun. Thank goodness, you can do much better. He answered. Maybe a girl with a normal-sized forehead. And there it is. Naruto thought. You little, she screamed as she chased after the K-Corps. But Sakura with a few smart-mouthed kids and she blows her lid. He thought. Better go make sure they don't kill each other. Though Sakura was an actual ninja, she was weak but angry. While the K-Corps weren't ninja, they had been training under him. If he had to guess, they were about on even level. Actually, the K-Corps had a slight edge, Naruto drilled true teamwork and skills in them. He kept at a slight distance as he watched the chase, it was slightly comedic. Until they bumped into a sand shinobi. That hurt you little brat. The bandaged one spoke. Sorry. Sakura apologized. Hankuro, we have to go. His partner stated. Not until I teach this brat a lesson Tamari. He stated as his grabbed the kid and held him up. Then his mental alarms went off, trained from being a shinobi. Hey Kankuro. His sister called. Boss. They cried in joy. Kankuro turned at the sound of his sister's nervous voice. There stood Naruto behind her with a kunai at her throat. A second Naruto stood beside him, relaxed but with his hand on the WCB. That kid you're holding is the grandson of the Hokage. Naruto informed calmly. You're not trying to start a political incident, are you? And no. Kankuro growled. A rock came from the trees and slammed into the sand ninja's hand, forcing him to drop the kid. All eyes turned to Sasuke. How long do you plan on staying up there? Naruto asked. Though, not you team. Naruto stated. Him. That was when they realized Sasuke wasn't alone in the tree, a redhead was there as well. Naruto noticed how the two sand nin tensed in fear at his presence. The red head disappeared via sand body flicker and reappeared beside his team. Shut up Kankuro or I'll kill you. Gaara stated. I apologize for my brother. No problem, Gaara was it. Yes, I am curious of your name as well. Naruto just smiled at the deed, not a kind nor unkind one, it was a secretive one. It told the sand ninja that he wasn't going to be revealing that information. His teammate stepped in. I'm Sasuke. Gaara didn't spare him a second glance as he turned to leave. Naruto turned to do the same. Wait. Sakura shouted. What are sand ninja doing here? You must be green. Temari taunted as she pulled out her pass. They're here for the chunin exams. Naruto informed. Grabbing the K-corpse under his arms, he left in a body flicker. So you came? Sasuke asked. Of course. Naruto answered. I want to get off this team and move up in rank as much as you do. HN. The trio made their way inside of the building to start their trials. As they made their way up a few flight of stairs, they noticed something. There was a gathering of genin from all around gathered at a door. Naruto even saw a few that he either met or studied. What's going on? Naruto asked himself. Jinjutsu EC. It was obviously a trick to weed out the weaker of the genin. Naruto saw Sasuke had a familiar look in his eyes. One that he usually had when he was going to ridicule someone and proclaim his superior over them. Not this time. Naruto thought as he grabbed the Uchiha. It's a trick to weed out the weak. Naruto stated to his team. Let's go. They're not worth my time. Sasuke stated as he moved past them. Always gotta state you're the best. Naruto thought with a roll of his eyes. They made it into a large room that led to the entrance of their exams. Hey you, Sasuke. Naruto didn't look back as his teammate met Rock Lee. He was familiar with the Taijutsu beast and his power, it would be over in 5 minutes. Naruto came up to a door that would start the trials. In front of it was their sensei, Kakashi. Hello, sensei. Naruto. Kakashi greeted. Where are the other two? Meeting Lee. Naruto answered. They should be here in a few minutes with some new bruises. Have some faith in her mind. Kakashi mumbled as he saw his remaining students. Sensei. Sakura spoke. What are you doing here? I came to see if you all would be participating. He answered. Unless all three agree to it, none of you can enter. So you hoped we would all agree to this, knowing we can't agree on anything else? Naruto asked. Just get in there. The members of Team 7 were greeted with a wave of killer intent the moment they walked into the room. Naruto brushed it off, too used to it. Sasuke, while not as adjusted to it, pushed through as well so as not to be shown up. Sakura, Naruto-kun. Ino cheered as she jumped onto his back. Hello Ino-chan. He greeted back. So all of the rookie 9 are here? Kiba asked. Actually, you have a few more. A voice spoke. All heads turned to see Haku. Beside her was Sai and another nameless genin. Together they made up another cell group of genin, even though their skills are far above that. Haku? Ino growled. Ino right, sorry about the whole incident. Haku spoke. I just wanted to hurt your boyfriend and kill him. Wow. Kiba spoke. Everyone else was too shocked to form a decent word. You all may want to keep it down. A voice advised. Why is that? You're drawing unwanted attention. The rookie 9 turned their attention towards the other genin, just as their guest had advised. Nearly all of the non-Konoha genin were focused on them and releasing a stream of killer intent. Who are you? Kiba asked. I'm Kabuto. As they began talking, Naruto began tuning them out. He decided to do a little information gathering. Using his eyes, he looked at the competition, deciphering them. Nearly all of them were a disablement, but he had learned not to be arrogant. That would lead to his death or the death of one of his comrades. There were several that stood out above the rest. Gaara of the Sand. He had given off some bad vibes from their first meeting and his sand smelled of blood. There was something else, something deep inside of him. A part of him he'd separate. The Kunoichi from grass. She gave off even worse vibes than Gaara and held an air of death. Kabuto of the leaf. Something about him threw the blonde off, he was a fake. A liar. That much was obvious, he even had enough chakra and control to match Kakashi. Naruto's attention came back on the rookie 9 at the call of his name. He had paid a bit of attention towards the conversation and knew that Kabuto was giving out information on the contestants. Let's see. Kabuto began, only for the card to fall from his hand with a hole in it. What's the big idea dope? Sasuke growled. Scared we may learn you're not so great. Words are silver, but silence is gold. Naruto answered. Why would I want my potential enemies knowing anything about me? Naruto Uzumaki, the loaded finger the killer. A voice began. Rumored to have the fabled bloodline called the killer's glare. It was the grass Kunoichi. Naruto had froze at the words that the Kunoichi had spoke. He had made sure to keep the information under wraps. Only 2 people actually knew about his bloodline, Danzo and the Hokage. For this Kunoichi to know the Dobe has a bloodline. Sasuke asked only to be ignored. I never heard of it, must be as pathetic as he is. How does a grass kunoichi know so much about a Konoha genin? Naruto asked coldly. She only smiled. Words are silver, but silence is gold. Naruto's finger tensed. Naruto had vaguely heard Kabuto insult the Sound Village and saw them spring into action. He was tempted to interfere and aid him, he was still Konoha after all, but decided not to. He thought it would be a good idea to gauge them, both Sound and Kabuto. Alright maggots. Someone shouted. Take your seat so we can begin the exams. What if Naruto beat everyone in chunin exams? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.